everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. And yeah, if you guys want to support the show, then be sure to subscribe, like, share, review, and comment down below whether you're with us live, your thoughts and your questions, or if you're watching on the replay, definitely comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. So, with that, let's dive right on in. So, first, I'm going to do a review of season 18 of The Real Housewives of Orange County. Then I'll talk a little bit more about Tamra and the backlash that she's getting when she came out and said she's, quote, on the spectrum, which is highly disrespectful. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the demise of Heather Dubrow and what I think she can do to have a redemption arc. So, you guys, as you come in, be sure to say hi in the chat box. Let me know where you're watching from and what your thoughts are on this season. So, let's talk about the girls. Let's start with Shannon. Okay, so we all know that having a DUI storyline is sort of now the bread and butter of housewives. Shannon has a DUI. Karen Huger from Potomac has a DUI. Gina had a DUI. I'm not liking this trend. Let's just stop it. But I will say for Shannon, I do feel bad for her. I think she was in a bad spot. Now, whether or not she should continue to drink, that's her personal choice. We'll see how that continues to roll out for her. But I do think the DUI should have been a big wake up call. I think that Shannon is having her redemption season. Everyone is Team Shannon. Everybody in the comments loves her. She's funny, she's relevant, and she's that girl this season. She really is. Even with the DUI, she is that girl. Every storyline kind of revolves around her. Heather always has Shannon's name in her mouth. Tamra always has her name in her mouth. Alexis always has her name in her mouth. And then all the other girls are kind of rallying around her in a really good, happy, healthy way, which I love. And I also love that Shannon finally has sort of stepped out of being kind of like an abused woman, whether it's physically, allegedly, with David, whether it's emotionally and mentally, allegedly with David and also with John Jansen. I like that she stepped out of that and she's like, I don't need him anymore. I see him for who he is. And I'm my own woman and I want to move forward. I'm kicking him to the curb rather than the version of Shannon that was doing everything she could to keep a man, her man, whether it was buying him clothes, whether it was, bringing him on TV, footing the bill for half of their relationship, all of that. Let this be a PSA to you, ladies. You should not have to keep a man. You should not have to basically pay him to be around you and to be with you. He doesn't deserve you. You deserve way more than that. Don't let it come down to a DUI to wake you up that you're in a toxic relationship. I love Shannon and talking about her girls going away to school. That's really fun. And then these are my 2 cents on the lawsuit with what's going on with John Jansen and the 75K. Number one, any real man would not be asking her to pay this money back. It wouldn't have been a loan. If you're really her man, it would have been a gift. Honey, you need help with the bills, here's some money. Honey, you want to get some enhancement, here's the money. It is what it is. We can joke all day and take shots at Ryan, I mean Jenn's boyfriend, but at least he's stepping up and taking care of her and her family and her kids, which is way better than what we've seen a lot of these other men do on these shows. So there's that. So I'm definitely Team Shannon when it comes to all of that. And we'll talk more about Shannon when we talk about the other women because her storyline and who she is so baked into everything. Now let's talk about Heather Dubrow. And I'll dive a little bit deeper into that later. But for Heather, I will say this. I think the reason why she's having such a bad season, and I mean like a bad season. Like I am a Heather Dubrow stan. I really, really love Heather, but I'm finding it very, very hard to root for her or to be on her side this season. I think for 2 reasons. The number one reason is I think Heather Dubrow is sad. And by sad, I don't mean, oh, you're pathetic. I don't mean that type of sad. I mean emotionally sad. I don't think she's happy. I don't think she's fulfilled in her life. I don't think she's happy in her marriage. I don't think she's happy as a person, as a woman. Maybe as a mother, I'm not going to touch that, especially with her children. That's not my place to speak on that. So I'm going to just kind of stay in my lane and be respectful there. I don't think she's happy with her friendships. I don't think that Heather is happy. She gives me really sad energy. And I think the fact that she's sad, coupled with the fact that for all the things she has in this world, all the material things, all of the check boxes, she has low self-esteem. She is a pick me to Tamra Judge. She listens to Tamra. Tamra puts stuff in her ear, winds her up, and then she goes bees Tamra's mouthpiece. Tamra, who talks about you like a dog in every single confessional. Tamra, who talks about you like a dog to all the other women on the show. Excuse me, Mr. Burrow? Like, are you that thirsty for friends that you're willing to coddle Tamra Judge? Literally makes zero sense to me. It was so clear that this last episode, when Heather turned on Shannon, oh, Shannon, you're using this episode and the episode before, oh, you used me with the Jeff Lewis interview and you came and you cried to me and blah, blah, blah. Heather, nobody used you. It's the show. Duh. When people want certain angles and certain storylines and certain narratives out there, of course they strategically go to people and talk about it. You do it too, Heather. She's not using you. She's on the show. She wants to get her narrative out there. She wants to get her storyline out there. The only reason why you flipped on Shannon was because Tamra got in your ear and was like, oh, Shannon used you, Heather. And because you have such low self-esteem and you're so thirsty to be up Tamra's butt, you fell for it hook, line, and sinker when, hello, ding dong, Tamra is your number one hater. Your number one hater. Tamra is the one who was feeding stuff to Katie. Tamra was the one who was feeding stuff to Gina. And you don't get that, Heather? Wake up. Ding, 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 hello. Did all the champagne go to your head? Wake up, Heather. And I personally love Heather Dubrow. I think she's fabulous. I think she's great. And I think she's fabulous. I think she's great. But I'm just sort of like, where is your self-esteem? And I think she's sad. I really do. And I think she's sad for a couple of reasons. I'll just jump into it now since I'm like talking about her. So here we go. So this is sort of what I wanted to get into when I'm talking about Heather Dubrow's demise and what her redemption arc could be, okay? So I talked about it before. I don't think she's happy. I don't think she's happy in her marriage. Don't forget about the cheating allegations that came out with Terry Dubrow. Like, allegedly, he was cheating on her for a while with multiple women, some women in his office. They had the whole alleged paparazzi Disney World, stunt, whatever it may be. I personally think she did call the paparazzi, but at the same time, I don't really care. Again, it's the name of the game. All of these, quote, celebrities, influencers, reality stars, actors, whatever you want to call them, they're all doing that. They're all calling the paparazzi. They're all calling back parade. They're all planting stories because they want to be relevant. They want to be known. They want to be in the news. They want their angle out there. I do think that Heather could have been honest and said, yeah, it was Terry and I decided to do this because there was all these rumors out there and it was affecting our children. Just own it and be honest with it. I think that's kind of where she tripped up. But I don't care how strong your marriage is. And I don't think that Heather and Terry are the strongest they've been. We've seen them fight. But even if you have the strongest of marriages, anytime there's cheating allegations, particularly public ones, it puts a chink in the armor. Doesn't mean you guys are going to break up, doesn't mean it's true, but unfortunately, it is a poisonous seed that is planted. And hopefully you can get rid of that seed. But then we also see the tension between her and Terry with the hot mic moment. When she was like, don't disparage me on TV. She didn't say disparage. I forget the word. She admonish. Don't admonish me on television, because he was like getting annoyed with her when she was talking. He wanted to talk and you could just tell that there was like friction there. And then also, I always kind of squint at couples who are always the super busy couple. He's super busy with work. She's super busy with work, doing renovations, flying here, going there. schedules this, put it on the calendar. I'm always like the super busy couples. I'm always like, well, when do you spend time together? Are you just avoiding each other? Is it a business partnership at this point? So the super busy couples, I'm always like, what's really going on with this? And that's kind of the vibe I get from Heather and Terry. It's yes, they're husband and wife. Yes, they love each other. But at this point, their brand is them as a couple, that I think it would be too much for them to separate. I thought the same thing about Kyle and Mauricio, and we see what happened there. So you never know. Not saying I want that for Heather and Terry. I want them to be happy. I want them to be together, and I want them to be great forever and ever. So I'm not wishing that on anybody. And I also think a big reason why Heather Dubrow is so sad, and she's talked about this a couple of times, is I think that she regrets not focusing on her own career. And you might be like, well, what does she mean by that? She has all these reality shows and skincare brands, but Heather always wanted to be a serious actress. She wanted to be on scripted shows, TV series, movies, films. She wanted to be an actor, right? And I think that she stopped really following being an actor to support Terry and his businesses and being on reality TV. When then they get botched, then they get their skincare lines, then they're doing the real estate, then they have like their 4 children. And so, yes, kind of looking on the outside, you think, oh, they have everything, they have all this money and all this stuff. But I think money and all of that stuff really doesn't mean anything when you're unfulfilled at your core, when you don't feel like you really went for your purpose, when you don't feel like you have your own identity as yourself. That's why you have millionaires and billionaires unhappy and drugged out and doing all crazy things. And you're like, well, if I had all that money, I'd be so happy. But would you? You know? And I'm not talking bad about having money. I don't think that money is the problem. I think it's just whether or not you are fulfilled as a person is the issue. You could have $10 and be miserable. You could have $10 million and be miserable. You could have $100 and be happy. You could have $100 million and be happy. It's really not about the money. It's about how connected and developed you are within yourself, right? And I think that Heather, maybe it's a midlife crisis type situation, but I think that Heather isn't happy. And I think that's really what is coming across. And then the fact that she aligns herself with Tamra Judge, she's a pick me for her, blindly follows her, believes her lies, goes after Shannon, goes after Gina, goes after blah, all these other people, when your number one enemy is Tamra, when the number one snake that is against you is Tamra. Tamra was the one who went to Katie being like, oh, Gina's only friends with Heather because of the real estate connections. Oh, all of this stuff, Heather's this, Heather's that. That's why when Jenn told Tamra off for filth this episode, shout out to Jenn, she looked at her and she said, yeah, she's only your friend because she's in your face right now, but she talks about you. Because obviously Tamra talks like about everybody like a dog and pits everybody against each other. And I'm just like, Heather, are you that thirsty to be friends with Tamra Judge? So Heather Dubrow, if you watch this, this is the guidance I have for you. I don't know who your friends are outside of this cast, because obviously I don't really know you. But I think that you need to find some really good girlfriends, maybe 2 or 3, who are on your level, who are not intimidated by you, who have money, 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 money the way you do, who is happy, either happy single, happy dating, or happy married, but they're happy. And you need to find those women and have a really good group of women to support you. Because even though you have all this money, I, in my gut, don't think that you're happy. And that's why this season, it's coming off as bitter. It's coming off as mean. It's coming off as a pick me to Tamra, the low self-esteem of it all. And it just makes me sad when Heather Dubrow, you are also that girl. You are, like Heather or you don't like Heather, she's that girl. It is what it is. Heather Dubrow is that girl. She has it. She has it. She just doesn't realize that she has it. She let people who are jealous of her, because that's what it is. Let's call a thing a thing. I'm looking at you, Gina. I'm looking at you, Emily. I'm looking at you, Katie. I'm looking at you, Tamra. I'm looking at you, Emily. You're letting these women who are jealous of you knock you off your spot because you're now looking for their validation rather than standing in the own of who you are. You know, you have Emily having a full down mental breakdown, looking ridiculous out here because you simply said to her, "Oh, bring a pair of jeans to a fashion show." You have Emily out here losing her damn mind. Heather, I just want you to see me, Heather. Emily, shut up. Like, that whole situation was so irritating. And then you had another pick me, weirdo, jealous person, Gina, being like, yeah, Heather's just so bad. She doesn't see you. She just spins everything. No, Emily's issues were Emily's issues, and they had nothing to do with Heather. But then you get Gina winding Emily up. So you are that girl. When you're not in the room and everybody's talking about you, you're that girl. When if you acknowledge them or don't acknowledge them, they're having mental breakdowns, you're that girl. So Heather, I'm going to need you to buck it up. I need you to get some real good girlfriends who got some good coin, so they're not going to be jealous of you, to truly support you. I'm going to need you to work on yourself, work on your self-esteem, work on your self-love, work on getting your own identity as Heather, not Heather Dubrow with your husband, not Heather the mother, the champion of your children, which is great, but you need to get back to Heather the woman. And you need to start having more fun and stop caring so much about what people who are, quite frankly, simply jealous of you think. And you need to step into your that girl energy. And you need to distance yourself from Tamra, hold her accountable. And I would actually love to see a Shannon Beador, Heather Dubrow duo on the show. I think that energy, if we get Heather with some self-esteem and we get her fun again and happy again, I think her and Shannon would be hilarious together. It would be the duo you didn't know you needed. To me, it would be giving like Heather Gay and Lisa Barlow on Salt Lake City. The duo you didn't know you needed until you needed them. You know what I mean? So that is what I would love to see. So that's kind of why I say this is sort of the demise of Heather Dubrow. And that's what I think her redemption arc could be. Finding herself again. Who is Heather Dubrow, the woman? Kick Tamra to the curb and align yourself with Shannon. Get some self-esteem and stop being a pick-me because you're Heather Dubrow. Okay. Now let's get back to the review. Okay, so that was Heather. Tamra. I can't. When I say someone is evil and manipulative and mean and rude and judgmental and jealous and a snake and is delusional, all signs point to Tamra Judge. It's insane. Let's get into her whole, all of a sudden saying that she's, quote, on the spectrum and that's why she doesn't have empathy and she wanted to check herself into a mental facility. It's giving Raquel Leviss vibes after Scandal when she was like, I have to go to a mental health facility and like really work on myself and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, no, because the problem with that is a lot of things. Number one, and I have the clip of when she says it with her and what's her name, Teddy, which is horrible. But to me, the core issue with this is, and this is just me being an ally, because I am not on the spectrum. So I am not a part of that community. So I cannot speak for that community, but I can speak in support of that community. So as a person who is not a part of the community, but wants to be an ally and support them, the way I look at it is you're taking an entire community of people and saying, oh, I have what they have. That's why I'm an asshole. That's why I'm a jerk. That's why I'm mean. That's why I've been doing all this crazy, evil stuff. How can you equate your toxic, evil psycho, mean, vindictive, vicious, disgusting, psychotic behavior with a mental, emotional disposition. I'm not sure what the correct word is. I want to be respectful and use the right wordage. Diagnosis, right? It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. You know, and it's crazy and it's very, very disrespectful. But let's watch the little video we have of it. Then we'll get into what Vicky had to say and what Kelly Dodd had to say about everything. But let's watch the video. And when we watch the video, I want you to look out for a couple things. Number one, does it look like they're reading from a script? Number two, does it look like they both want to laugh? Like it's a joke for them. Like they're kind of laughing about it. So look out for those things, okay? Let me bring it up.
I just did my first therapy session.
What?
Let's just say I found out something pretty big about myself that I didn't know.
Now I need to know, like, what?
Really?
Yeah.
I am on the spectrum.
Oh my gosh, Tam.
Don't make me cry. My biggest problem is working through trauma that I had in my life. I have a hard time with empathy and feeling other people's feelings.
Well, I always think, why am I not the strong one? So, you know?
I mean, that was so disgusting. They were clearly reading from a script, and two, they clearly look like they wanted to laugh about it. Now, I also want to bring up the point about her talking about, oh, I have all this trauma, and that's why I can't, blah, 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 blah. Number one, your trauma, anybody's trauma, is never an excuse to hurt other people. Everybody on this planet, I don't care who you are, has experienced some form of trauma in their lives. You either have, you're going through it, or you will. It's just literally a part of being a human being. The way you manage that trauma or the capacity or the amount of the trauma obviously can vary, and it's individual person to person as you grow through life and what your situations are, what your circumstances are. But I don't care who you are, you have some form of trauma. That never is an excuse for anybody to be hateful and hurtful and unkind and evil to other people. So number one, your trauma is not an excuse. Everybody has some form of trauma. So knock it off. Number two, shout out to Heather McDonald over at Juicy Scoop. I saw one of her, it was either like an Instagram or a TikTok, and she was saying how people on the spectrum, I think they're like a protected group of people for the American employer, something like that. I'm not exactly sure what the exact name of it was, but some type of American employee organization or something like that, that basically helps to protect people, whether it's like a disability or a medical issue or whatever, or like a mental health issue, whatever the case may be, to protect them from biases and discrimination at the workplace. So you're not being fired simply because you're on the spectrum or you have a certain disability or you need something else. So it's put into place to protect people, to protect the vulnerable, to protect people who might otherwise be discriminated against or taken advantage of. And so Heather McDonald said, Tamra's coming out and saying this because she's scared she's going to get fired. So the only reason why she's coming out and saying this is because now she wants to be protected under this clause or organization or, whatever it is. She wants protection under that so that Bravo or NBC can't fire her. She can then claim, oh, discrimination, you're firing me because I'm on the spectrum. Thank you. The 88 Americans with Disabilities Act. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Ms. Jules FL. I hope I said your name correctly. Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that she would use that as a way to save her job because she got so much backlash is so disgusting. But again, that's just who she is. She's just rotten to her core. I never liked Tamra, ever. I always thought she was just mean and rude. And you know what it is about Tamra and people like her that really grinds my gears? It's when you can see in their face that they are getting pleasure out of causing other people harm. It's sadistic. You can see in Tamara's face that she enjoys it. That when she gets under somebody's skin, when she gets Shannon to pop off and storm off, when she gets Jenn to sort of go into herself and not say anything and look really sad, you know, when she gets Heather to be embarrassed and uptight and all of this stuff, she gets a kick out of it. That is sick. Like that is psychotic and sick and sadistic to me. And they need to throw out Tamra and Teddy. They need to take, everybody does not deserve a podcast. Teddy is just as bad. Oh, what, Tam? Oh, really? Really? What did you say? Oh, you can talk to me about it, Tamra. I'm not reading from the script. I'm not holding back laughter. It's really like they got together and they're like, how can I save my job? Let's do this skit and say I'm on the spectrum. So then Bravo can't fire me because of the ADA Act. Sick. Absolutely sickening. Sick. So Vicky came out, shout out to Vicky OG, says she's making a mockery, which I agree. And I also think Vicky had a really valid point. So Tamra had the loudest opinion. It's my opinion when Vicky was dating Brooks, although valid opinion, and Brooks who also faked cancer to get out of being accountable for his actions. Same difference. Tamra, you're faking, and allegedly, because again, I'm not her doctor, but this is what she's come out and said. Allegedly, she's faking being on the spectrum because she has come out now kind of pushing back, you know, she's peddling, oh, I had the one session with the therapist and we talked about it for 15 minutes, 2-hour session. Oh, she said I had, things that were, so now she's reeling it back because I think she thought that, well, if I say I am on the spectrum or something like that, then I become untouchable. No one can say to me, what I'm doing is wrong, or no one can push back because I'm very similar to Whitney Rose in Salt Lake City, weaponizing their trauma and their healing and their mental health journey. Oh, the moment I say anything about mental health, I become untouchable, which is so disgusting and not true because we see each other. Okay, boo-boo? We see each other. We know what is up. So it's totally disgusting to use that. Kind of went up on a tangent there. But yeah, it's like Tamra, it's horrible, but she's always done that. Oh, that's right. We're talking about Brooks. So it's the same difference, right? So Brooks, who is a con artist, narcissistic scam man, con Vicky out of so much money just to be on the show, just to be famous and to get access to her money, complete con artist, faking cancer to get out of being accountable for his actions. Tamra, in my opinion, faking being on the spectrum to not be accountable for her actions. Same thing. You're using a community of people who are vulnerable and disenfranchised as cover and shield to get you out of being accountable for your horrific actions. And I am happy that Shannon showed Jenn the receipts on you, that you allegedly did the whole background check on Ryan, which I believe. And then trying to split hairs. No, it wasn't a background check. It was about the mortgage and whether or not he did. We saw the screenshot. It said, can you do a background check on this guy? Okay. We saw the screenshot, sweetheart. Get out of here. Knock it off. Knock it off. And then we had Heather Dubrow going, she did some interview, like the behind the scenes or whatever on Bravo, being like, well, I just didn't understand why Shannon waited 2 years. They were back in 2022. Heather, pipe down and please get some self esteem. You don't need to be Tamra's mouthpiece. If I am Shannon Beador with the way Tamra has treated me, I am going back to 2012, 2002, 1992, 1982, 1972, 1952. I'm going as far back as I need to go to check this chick. And what Shannon was doing was saying, listen, Jenn, this woman keeps coming after you and after you and after you, and you keep forgiving her and taking it. We need to come together. And how is that any different than what Tamra does? When Tamra goes to everybody and says, Shannon's a liar, Shannon's a drunk, Shannon owes the money, Shannon. How is that any different? So shout out to Shannon for getting a backbone, getting the receipts, and being like, let's go toe to toe. Now, I do think that with the reunion, I think we're going to be disappointed because people are saying that Tamra and Shannon kind of have a come to Jesus moment. There might be some reconciliation there. We'll see if that reunion moment lasts, because I feel like now that we're seeing more of the backlash, now that we're seeing more of everything come out, I hope Shannon doesn't drink the Kool-Aid and go back to being Tamra's friend in any capacity. But I think if that happens at the reunion, I feel bad for Shannon because I think Shannon might get some backlash for that. It's going to be like, wait a minute, we rode for you all season. This woman did you so dirty, and now all of a sudden it's kumbaya. I don't think so. I would feel some type of way. So I hope it's not a true reconciliation at the reunion, and I hope Shannon doesn't go back and get back with her. But that's kind of where I land on the whole situation with Tamra and Shannon and Vicky and Kelly saying that, Tamra needs to be fired. I agree. I do think Tamra needs to be fired. Another reason why Tamra needs to be fired is, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth, because she said she wanted to be like Lisa Rinna. I believe in manifestation. You speak it, it becomes. You want to be Lisa Rinna. Lisa Rinna got what? Fired. Ding dong, the witch is dead. So you wanted to be Lisa? Well, then you're Lisa and you're going to get fired. And soon you're going to be like, I wrote Bravo an email telling them that I was ready to leave. It was my choice to leave. And then you're going to have NBC, Bravo. Oh, it was a mutual decision not to renew. Everybody knows that's code for you got fired. Girl, bye. How can it be a mutual decision not to girl? Stop. So yeah, you wanted to be Lisa Rinna, you got her, boo-boo. You got her. So also a big thing with Tamra is she loves to, talk about everybody, but she never takes any accountability for the stuff in her life, like what's going on with her estranged daughter. I don't want to get too far into that because I don't want to get too dark, but she has an opinion on Jenn and how Jenn's going to take care of her kids when you're not in a position to take care of your own children. Work on getting, Sydney back in your life. What's going on with your other kids? Your son, Ryan, I don't know what's going on with him. He's always been a little scary to me. Ryan to me looks like, I don't know. He looks like he's got some stuff going on there. And a lot. It's just a lot. But yeah, I think that, yeah, work on your own children. Work on, in Ryan's words, in Jenn Ryan's word, work on soft Eddie. I'm not saying soft in a way to be disrespectful towards anybody's sexuality. I don't mean it that way. I'm just regurgitating what Ryan had called Eddie. Work on your marriage, because it doesn't seem like everything is up to snuff there, and you were saying, oh, Eddie runs multi-million businesses. Where, who, and what? I'm confused. What does Eddie do? Don't sit and lie in my face talking about some CBD company or some supplement company. Knock that off. Eddie is not making multi-million dollars with that. Stop it. That's like, I make $1 million in crypto. Do you? Liar. I make $1 million in CBD. Liar. Why did he run away to Big Bear, where you guys live now? What's going on with that? He's in Big Bear and you're in the OC. Is that a separation you don't really want to talk about? What is going on with, and to me, to be honest with you, Eddie and Ryan's fight seemed like it was a fight between two lovers. How Eddie was so, and again, I don't mean that to be disrespectful to anybody's sexual orientation. I want to be very clear. Over here at the Candy Canes, we don't care how you get down. Get down how you get down. Love who you love. Do what you do. We are all inclusive over here. So when I say that, I just mean that's how it comes across as that. I don't mean that to be as a slander or by any means like that. So I make that abundantly clear. I'm just saying that Eddie and Ryan, their energy, the way that they were like fighting and going back and like doing shots at each other, I was like, what happened with y'all? Because it seemed more like two lovers had a falling out and now they're trying to go at each other. Do you know what I mean? It was like that, like, oh, well, I didn't like you anyway, or you were never good in bed anyway, or you broke anyway, or I was just like, I'm super confused. And then when Tamra getting wasted and jumping in, this is the thing. I always think it's a bad look both ways. When a man gets into a woman's face, sort of like, think about like Brooks and Tayleen's husband, I'm like, oh, all that stuff over in Dubai. I always think it's a bad look when a man gets into a woman's face or a man gets into women's business. But I also think that it's also very slimy and weird when a woman is wasted like Tamra was and her so-called friend Jenn. And by so-called friend Jenn, that's not a diss to Jenn, that's just to Tamra, because she's clearly not Jenn's friend, is being so highly disrespectful to her friend's man or husband in her face like that. You know what I mean? That's also very weird and rubs me the wrong way. Like, don't come at my man like that while I am sitting here. You address me, don't address my man. You're my friend. You have an issue with something going on. You can talk to me, Tamra. I'm right here. You don't need to address my man. That's kind of what I'm getting at. You know what I'm saying? Finally, at least in this episode, Jenn found her voice and had a backbone. So that's kind of what I'm feeling with Tamra. I think my final thoughts on Tamra is, I think she's lying about being on the spectrum. I think it was highly disrespectful to that community. And I think that she should be fired for that and just for how she's been this entire season. Berating people and lying on people and being toxic and being rude and just making the energy dark. Tamra, it's enough. So Tamra, you can be Lisa Rinna and you can be fired. Bye-bye. So let's get back to the review with the other ladies. Okay, now let's talk about Gina in the casita. So Gina was just on Watch What Happens Live, and I guess Travis was with her backstage. Gina, why are you still with Travis? I'm confused. I don't think Gina is into Travis like that. I don't think she respects him. I don't think she's sexually attracted to him. She basically kicked him and his kids out the house because his ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife, whatever their situation is, was very toxic and weird. There's allegations that she pushed him down the stairs when she was drunk. Again, allegations. And she was also saying how like she's making more money now, and so it's hard. And I think that this is really valid. It's hard to be like, well, I'm making more money, but I'm only going to spend it on my kids, but not all of the kids. That I do think would be really, really hard when you're not married to someone and your financial situation changes and theirs hasn't. And it's hard to be like, well, I'm only going to spend really nice on my children, but not on all of the children. I do think that's really hard. And I commend her for being mindful enough to think of that. My question is, why are you still with him? Because I don't think Gina respects him. That's just kind of the gist I get. It's like, if you're going to go as far as to separate living situations, you might as well just take the next step to separate, because isn't that the direction you're going? You know what I mean? So I don't know. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I have been saying since day one, I think Gina and Emily weren't great hires. I think that they kind of brought the OC down. I don't know. I don't like their personalities that much. I don't think they really bring that much to the show. They're kind of just a bunch of negative, and I'll just loop Emily in with this with Gina. I just think that they both are kind of negative Nancy's. They talk about everybody, they misunderstand things, they're in their feelings 99% of the time. Emily having mental breakdowns about a fashion show was absolutely ridiculous. Blaming every single thing in the world on Heather Dubrow, absolutely ridiculous. Gina, her whole vibe, absolutely ridiculous. I would not be mad. To be honest with you, I like Jenn better than I like Gina and Emily as an addition. At least she has something interesting going on. At least she's finding her voice and now she has an arc, you know? To me, Gina and Emily have been rinse, wash, and repeat. I'm tired of hearing about Emily's weight. I'm not being insensitive. All I'm saying is you can't keep blaming everybody else for how you feel about yourself. As an adult, you have to take responsibility for how you feel about you. And you can't keep blaming everybody else for how you feel about yourself. I don't care who you are in this world, there will be some quote societal norm or societal standard that you feel you can't achieve, whether it's, you know, looking a certain way or having a certain amount of money or living in a certain apartment or living in a certain house or having a certain car, or, you know, sometimes it's being super skinny, sometimes it's having a BBL, sometimes it's having straight hair, sometimes it's having naturally curly hair, sometimes it's blah, 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 blah. There's so many of those things in the world that you as your own person has to decide, I don't care about any of that. I choose to love me as I am. So that way you're not so affected because somebody said, oh, bring your own jeans. Because number one, jeans are hard to fit. If I'm in a fashion show and they say, Candy, bring your own jeans, I'm relieved because I'm like, oh my God, that's great. I can bring jeans that fit me. I feel comfortable in. Jeans are hard, okay? And then she put you in the same dress as Alexis. That is a you problem, Emily, not a Heather problem or anybody else's problem. You know, if you're a size 12, you're a size 12. Who cares? Sometimes I buy a size medium or large because I like the fit. When they said an oversized jacket, that is the stylistic term. Oversized is a stylistic term. It just means baggier, oversized. It doesn't mean that you, the person, is oversized. I love an oversized sweatshirt. I'm probably wearing one right now. I love an oversized blazer. It's a style. It's not a statement on your body type. It actually has nothing to do with your body type. Oversized is a style. It's like a bell bottom. If they were like, Emily, you're going to wear bell bottoms, would you be that mad about it? Like, are you that? Would you be like, oh, I can't believe you. You think I look like a bell? Like, what? It's like, it's so annoying to watch because it takes away from when people truly are being targeted or, you know, talked down about or treated differently because of the way they look, whatever that may be, whether it's hair, whether it's a microaggression, whether it's skin color, whether it's sexual orientation, whether it's body size. Unfortunately, that still exists in our society where people really are discriminated against for those things by simply existing how they are. But in this case, it was wildly ridiculous to me. Wildly ridiculous. You know what I mean? And then to have Gina be like, yeah, you know, Heather she just can't see you. She's just way up here. And then that's tired. Like, did we not get, excuse me, 1 second, guys. Gina's ghost is coming to get me. Woo! But that's tired. Like, did we not get enough of that last season? Of like, let's just blame Heather for every single thing and just be a hater for every single thing. It's too much. It's absolutely too much. So that's kind of where I land with both Gina and Emily. What new storyline do either of them have? Nothing. What new personality trait do they have that make them interesting? Nothing. I would not be mad if Gina and Emily got let go. I would be fine with that. I want them to bring on people. I think the OC needs a refresh. I want them to bring on women who are wealthy, 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 because the OC, baby, is money. Okay. It's money down. I want to see those money down people, not the weirdos like Elizabeth Vargas. I know some people liked her. I thought she was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on a different planet, which is fine, but I didn't find it enjoyable to watch in this particular context. I want to see people money down, like the Heather Dubrows, but I need them to have a Lisa Barlow energy, a Karen Huger energy, where they just show up, even a Mary Cosby energy, where they just show up and they're just like, this is who I am. It is what it is. What, baby? Bow down. Let's get it popping and dipping it and doing it. That's what we need. Even a Vicki Gunvalson energy, where she's just like, and she is who she is. But this sort of like having these housewives who have such low self-esteem and low self-worth, and they're just jealous people and negative Nancy's, is why the season is not good. It's ugh. It's a wrap. I think that they've ran their course, and I'm done with it. Okay, let's talk about Jenn. Jennifer, to be honest with you, I'm surprised they gave her a second season. I think she probably got a second season because they probably had rumblings about Ryan and the FBI and fraud. We all know Bravo loves a fraud case. They probably got rumblings of that. So like, let's bring her on. Let's get it on camera. We know Tamra will carry that bone back and bring it to the show. So they probably brought her back for that. They also probably brought her back because they probably lazy casting. They probably couldn't find anybody else in time, like another person to bring on. Because I don't think, I'm happy that Jenn now is finding her voice, but I don't think she deserved to come back after last season, if that makes sense. So it is what it is with Jenn. I like Jenn. I think she's really sweet. I think she's a really nice person. I think she's funny and kind. She's a great mom. And she's genuine and she's authentic. I'm really liking Jenn. I like Jenn better than I like Gina and Emily, to be perfectly honest with you. And I was watching, I think Shannon was on Watch What Happens Live, and I forget the name of the person who was the co-guest with her. It was some woman who's in politics or something. And they were talking about Jenn and how, some question about how, Ryan takes care of Jenn now and her dad takes care of her. And the woman was such a hater and was like, oh, the privilege of it all. Like she had her daddy and her dad to help her and her father, and now Ryan and her, all these blah, blah, blah. Look, sweetheart, there is no glory in the struggle bus. There is no glory in having to do it all by yourself on your own. There's not. Point blank, period. It has been glorified. You know what I mean? It has been, unfortunately, it has been glorified to have, women struggle, make it on their own and blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to be very clear I'm going to clarify this just for any confusion. I do not mean that a woman should not have her own, because I do. I do think that you should always have your own little nest egg, your own little pot over here, that in case anything goes down, you're able to have something to fall back on. You're able to have something to stand on, that if one day Ryan wakes up and he's done with you, you and your kids aren't going to be on the street. A woman always should have her own in that sense, 1000%. However, there is absolutely nothing wrong with your man 100% taking care of you and your kids. What is a man for? Protect and provide. So me personally, I thought that woman was a very bitter Betty. I thought she was very toxic, and I thought that she was kind of just like a hater. It's not the privilege of it all. I believe in, as women, we are born with our divine feminine. Just because we exist, we are worthy and we are enough, And there's nothing wrong with a father taking care of his daughter and making sure she's good. There's nothing wrong with a man taking care of his woman and kids that are not even his, and making sure they're good. That's not privilege. That should be the right of every woman in the world. And I know now, not being like, I'm just saying woman, you know what I mean. I think that every woman, it should be our right that our fathers take care of us. It should be our right that the men we choose to give our bodies to and our life to and our love to and our support to take care of us and our children. That's not a privilege. That's a right. The problem is it's been so bastardized and it's been so glorified in the struggle and all of this stuff that we think that it's a privilege that the man in your life takes care of you. And that's really sad to me. It should be our right as women that our fathers take care of us and our men take care of us. But don't get me twisted. I don't mean that you blindly, without having your own, to fall back on. Sure, he may take care of all the bills and everything. That's great. But make sure when he's getting you that $2,000 Dolce & Gabbana dress, maybe you hold on to that receipt in case you ever need to return it and get that money back or if something happens. Have your own side savings account. If he's taking care of all the bills, start your own side hustle. Start, being a content creator or start doing something, or maybe do some real estate. I don't know, whatever floats your boat. Sell pottery. I don't know. Whatever it is, and then start having your own on the side. So yes, you can be taken care of, but be smart and mindful about it. And so I'm not mad at Jenn that she's allowed men to take care of her. The part that worries me about Jenn is that she's missing the part where she has her own contingency plan. Because you could be married to a man and he could wake up one day and like what happened to what's her face? What's that woman's name? The actress? She woke up, she went to her house and all the locks were changed. And so she started auctioning off all her jewelry and all this stuff to get back at the ex-husband because he locked her out the house. You could be married to a man, you could have bore his biological children, and he could still kick your butt straight to the curb. Okay? So I'm not mad at Jenn for allowing men, which is what they should do, to take care of you. The part that troubles me with Jenn is she's missing the component of her own womanhood in the sense of, I'm still going to make sure that if a rainy day happens to come, I got my nest egg and I'm going to be okay and my kids will be okay because I've been saving on the side in a smart way to have my own stuff. Like Shawnee O'Neal. Shawnee O'Neal didn't have to work. So when she was married to Shaquille O'Neal, she started doing real estate. She started doing other stuff. So she had all these investments so that when they did break up, sure, she had her divorce money, but she also had her own money too. So I think that's more what the message should be. It's not that you have to be hyper independent as a woman and don't rely on nobody, because that's very toxic and unhealthy and unhealed, and quite frankly goes against your birthright as a woman. But it is your divine right to be taken care of and cherished, but also be smart and have your own. Okay? Now I'll get off my soapbox about that. Now, Jenn showing up and telling and reading Tamra for filth, and Tamra had nothing to say in return, was classic, gold, iconic, receipts, timeline, screenshots. I loved it all. Loved it all. There's a special place in hell for Tamra Judge. Did you clock that she said, I swear on my children's lives, I never gave him a background check. And then in the next breath, she said, oh, it was just for like a mortgage or something. So Tamra, number one, you knew exactly what Jenn was talking about. Number two, you knew that you did it. Number three, you had no problem saying you swore on your children's lives that it wasn't true. That is next level crazy cuckoo doodle doo time, okay? Next level crazy cuckoo doodle doo. You swore on your children's lives knowing it was a lie. I can't even say you thought it was the truth. I can't even say that you forgot. Because in the next breath, and you had that smirk on your face, you were like, no, it's just for a mortgage. trying to split hairs like people are stupid. I don't think so, Tam Tam. I really don't think so. So Jenn, I'm going to need you to keep this energy. I'm going to need you to keep your voice, and I'm going to need you to not forgive Tamra. Don't give her a second chance, and, you know, be mindful. Yeah, let Ryan pay for everything. Let him support you and your kids. But when you're getting these $2,000 dresses and you're getting all these trips, figure out a way to convert that into cash or into equity that you can then have if one day he decides he's ready for something else. Or if one day you decide you're ready for something else. It's not always the man who wants to leave. So you don't feel trapped, right? So that's what I would say to you, Jenn. Keep your voice, and then also don't sign anything with Ryan. I don't know what's going on with this alleged FBI stuff, bookies. I don't know. I didn't do a deep dive into it because I personally don't care. But just be careful. I wouldn't put anything in your name. I wouldn't sign any documents. Just be careful, okay? Keep yourself, you know, clean. All right, Katie. Katie, I don't know what you guys think. Put it in the chat. Do you like Katie? Because I don't. I don't like Katie. I think she's boring. I don't think her husband likes her very much. I was very confused why she came out the gate basically before the season even started, gunning for Heather Dubrow. Like, what was the reason for that? Like, I'm confused. Like, did you think you needed to come in going for Heather with the whole, like, I have a friend at Disney who could talk about the paparazzi? Like, Katie, why, who, and what? Like, first of all, whether or not Heather called the paparazzi at Disneyland is irrelevant, doesn't matter. Who cares? Everybody calls backward on themselves. That's not some big woo revelation. And number two, Katie, who are you? Who are you? Why do you care? Why do you, Katie, care what Heather Dubrow did or did not do regarding her marriage and how it affected her children having those rumors out there? Like, I'm super confused. Like, why was that any of your business? Also, Katie, why are you so up Tamra's butt and Gina's butt? Well, you were up Gina's butt until Gina, you know, tossed you to the curb to protect her relationship with Heather. Like, I'm just confused with Katie. I think she's really boring. I know that her and Jenn are really good friends now, but I think Katie is boring. I don't really think she has an engaging personality. I don't think that she's funny. She can't read. She can't shake. Like, I don't know what Katie brings to the table other than they tried to get some diversity on the OC. And you guys know how I feel about diversity hires. When it makes sense, 100%, but when you just do it blindly, it's disrespectful to us. Like, excuse me, you know? Anyway, yeah, Katie, Katie with me, I'm not feeling Katie at all. I don't even really know what else to say about Katie other than she's a one and done. She gives me Anna Marie vibes from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, where she kind of harps on something and she goes on and on and on about it. She's kind of a mouthpiece and a wound up doll, doesn't really have her own personality, is very bland. And I like that she's talking about her adoption story and finding her birth parents. I think that's like really interesting, and she bonds with Jenn over that because Jenn has adopted her son. So I like all that. Like, that's all good. That's all wholesome. But I don't think that's enough to carry her as a housewife. I don't really know why she's there. I don't get it. She doesn't really seem to be friends with anybody, like, other than Jenn right now, because now they're close. Gina threw her under the bus in 0.2 seconds and was like, I don't know you, Katie, like that. Get my name out your mouth. And this was another thing. Again, it was Tamra was the one getting in people's ear. Tamra was the one who went to Katie and was like, oh, Gina set you up with the whole Heather paparazzi thing. No, she didn't. This is what happened. Gina and Katie were talking crap about Heather. That's just, it is what it is. They were probably talking crap about her way before filming started. So Katie was under the impression she could talk crap about Heather and Gina was going to be her little ride or die because they were probably kikiing and hating on Heather before everything started, okay? Katie told Gina about the whole paparazzi thing and all that. Gina said to Katie, don't say anything. Don't bring it to the show because Heather would be really mad and that will not end well for you. Cut to filming. They're filming. Katie, Ding Dong Katie, because we need Ding Dong to read, Ding Dong Katie or Cuckoo Katie, whatever you want to call her, decides she's going to bring it to the show and she starts talking about it. And that's when Gina's like, whoa, oh no, oh crap, because Gina knows you've been talking about Heather like a dog to Katie all summer before filming starts. And now Katie, being thirsty as hell, wanting a moment, is now spilling the beans. And that's when Gina goes, okay, well, now that you've said it on camera, now you have to tell Heather what you said. That's what happened. Tamra goes back and talks to Katie, who I don't know why she doesn't have two brain cells in her head, and is like, Gina set you up and told you to tell Heather and that because she hates Heather and she's only friends with Heather because of her real estate connections and she really hates Heather, but she was setting you up because she wants to take Heather down. No, Tamra, you hate Heather. You think that Gina is disposable. You think Katie is disposable, and you're the one who really wants to take Heather down because you're jealous. And you don't respect Gina or Katie, so you're using them like pawns. And then Katie, with her two brain cells not working, goes, oh my God, Gina set me up. No, she didn't. You set yourself up, Katie, because number one, who told you to reach out to somebody at Disney World, Disneyland, whatever the hell it was, to get tea on Heather? Nobody asked you to do that. You did that yourself. So you did this. Nobody else did this. And Gina said to you straight up, don't bring it to the show. Heather is going to take you down if you bring it to the show. And now you are looking around like Boo Boo the Fool, wondering why Heather Dubrow doesn't rock with you and doesn't talk to you and doesn't want to be around you. If I was Heather, I would act the same exact way. To be honest with you, Heather was kinder to you than I would have been, because I don't know you from anybody in this world, from a ham sandwich, and you're doing all of this recognizance on me. The same way how Tamra, even though Tamra knows Jenn, again, even that's a bigger betrayal, doing a background check on her man and doing all this stuff about her man's business. Why? It's the obsession. It's the single white female. It's the psychoticness. It's the sadisticness of it all. It's really, really crazy. Katie, for me, you're a one and done. I don't really know why you're on the show. If you literally were not on the show, nothing would change. That's how you know you're disposable on the show. Okay? Last but not least, Alexis Bellino. The little Alexis that couldn't. Okay. I don't even know what to say about Alexis. It's just sad and pathetic to me. Like, she came in hot, thinking that she was going to take down Shannon and redeem John Jansen and all this stuff. And again, Tamra was right in her ear, winding her up, putting all this stuff in her box, thinking, I got Tamra on my side. The problem is, and this happens, and we've seen this happen a lot, when you don't like someone, you sometimes lose perspective on how much they are beloved or liked by others. So because Tamra hates Shannon, and I do mean hates, because you don't treat somebody the way you treat Shannon unless you hate them. So Tamra hates Shannon and dislikes her. To be honest with you, I don't think Alexis dislikes Shannon. I think that there is some type of infatuation or obsession there. You don't participate in not one, but two lawsuits against the same woman unless there is some type of infatuation there. Obviously, there's different cases for different things, but in this particular case, there's some type of infatuation there. I don't think Alexis dislikes Shannon. I think Alexis is low-key obsessed, like actually wants to be her friend, actually wants to be a part of her world, but she's doing it in such a toxic and weird, crazy psycho way that it's only like an unhealthy infatuation, stalker type stuff, right? Whereas I think Tamra actually has a disdain and a hatred towards Shannon that is very, very deep and very, very evident. So again, you have Tamra in Alexis's ear gassing her up because you hate this person so much. You have tunnel vision. You disregard the fact that they're actually beloved and liked by a lot of people. That Shannon from Beador has become a fan favorite and beloved on the OC. I love Shannon. We all are rooting for Shannon. We're all team Shannon. We see Tamra for who she is. We see Heather is going through something. Alexis is a ding dong bat, needs to go back to whatever cave she was in before she got on the show. John Jansen clearly is a narcissist, and I think that he preys again, well, in my opinion, he preys on women who are vulnerable and going through a tough time. He got with Shannon when she was fresh out of her divorce from David Beador, clearly going through it, not in a good place, in a very vulnerable place. He got with Alexis right when her mother had passed away. So she's clearly in a very vulnerable place. You know, losing a parent, especially a mother, if you're close to them, is horrible. I can't imagine it. I won't ever want to go through that. I can't even think about it. And you can, when Alexis talks about it, you see she's still mourning it and she's still in it. I think that he has narcissistic tendencies. I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose, but I think that he smells blood in the water when it comes to women who are going through it. And he comes in as this sort of savior complex. You know, with Shannon, he made her feel needed. Whether it was, you know, pay for my stuff or do this, he made her earn him. And only a woman who is in a bad place would accept that type of treatment. You know, I think he smelled it. And, you know, thank God Shannon is stronger now. It seems like she knows her worth. She's in therapy, working on herself, and she sees him for who he is, which is great. And I think he smelled the same thing on Alexis, because Alexis may not be earning him with money. Who knows? We don't really know who truly is spending the money in their relationship. We don't know. We know Shannon spent a lot of money on him, and he wants to act like this little 75K is really doing something. Like, get out of here, homeboy. That little 75K ain't doing nothing. Get out of here. You're doing it because you are wanting to humiliate her. Anyway, but he's making Alexis earn him, maybe not through money, but through being his bulldog, being his bodyguard, being his mouthpiece. She is earning him because every single scene, his name is in her mouth. Every single scene, she's going to bat for him. She's saying how good he is. She's evangelizing for him. She's, you know, trashing Shannon, trying to bring Shannon down to bring John up. He is making her earn him. But she doesn't understand that. He is doing the same exact thing to Alexis that he did to Shannon. He's just doing it through a different means. Shannon earned him through money and through bringing him on the show. Alexis is earning him by being his mouthpiece and his bulldog. She's earning that spot of his girlfriend, his this, that, the most beautiful, blah, 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 blah. She's earning him by doing all of his dirty work. But she doesn't even, blinders on, she doesn't even see that. You know what I mean? And it's really sick and sad. And I do think that, I do think Alexis has an infatuation with Shannon. That if Shannon actually said, let's be friends, she'd be like, oh my God, let's braid each other's hair and do sleepovers. Like Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs type stuff. You know what I mean? But that's where I really think is going on there. So that's kind of where I land with all of the women. Overall, I am 100% team Shannon. I think this is her redemption season. She's doing great. I hope she stays good with her and Vicky and them doing their show. Next season, I would love to see Shannon, if she is ready, because again, with like, you know, the drinking stuff and everything else, depending on if she's in a program, I don't know, maybe she'll be, who knows. I would love to see her dating, but only if it's authentic and only if she is in a mental and emotional space to date in a healthy way. Because just because you're single doesn't mean you are in a good spot to be dating. So I would love to see Shannon dating with like really like hot, rich guys who like really take care of her and put, you know, give her like really fun, crazy dates, and she has all these great stories. I would love to see that, Shannon. I think that would be really cool. But again, only if she is in a place to enjoy it and to be happy and to be pampered and to be taken care of. I want to see her thriving and having a lot of fun. So I'm here for Shannon all day long. Heather, like I said before, I think Heather's going through it. I don't think she's happy. I think she's really sad. I want to see Heather get her joy back. You know, the light in her has kind of, even in this photo, this light in her has kind of dimmed out. I want to see Heather Dubrow get her joy back. I want to see her have some rich friends and who truly support her. I want to see her, not as Terry's wife, not as the kid's mom, not as the business partner. I want to see Heather happy and thriving. And I would love to see Heather and Shannon together. Tamra, I want to see her fired, and that's it. Gina can be fired as well. I don't think she brings anything to the show except for being a negative Nancy and a jealous Julie. Same thing with Emily. She can be fired too. I don't know what Emily really brings to the show. She talks with such a way that you think she actually knows what she's talking about, or you think that what she's saying is true. But if you actually really listen to Emily, the majority of the time, it's all just speculation and things she's made up in her own head that she then regurgitates as if it is true. And then she causes chaos between people. So Emily, you can exit stage left. Jenn, I want her to stay. I want to see her journey. I want to see what happens with Ryan. Is there an FBI case? I want to know. I want to know what happens here. I want to see her thrive. I think she has a lot more to offer. She has a fresh perspective, a fresh story that nobody on the show really has with like the kids and all that stuff. So I'm really interested in Jenn. I'm happy she found her voice. I hope she keeps speaking up and keeps going after Tamra. Hopefully Tamra's fired, but I want to see more of her. Katie can be a one and done for me. I don't really know what she brings to the show. I don't think her husband likes her very much. The way he looks at her is like annoyed all the time. Anytime somebody makes a joke and says, my husband has a mistress, even though she's like, oh, his mistress is golf. Anytime somebody makes a joke with that at all, whether it is a mistress of work or golf or his friends or whatever the case may be, red flag, red flag, red flag. To me, whether or not he actually has a quote mistress, doesn't really matter. To me, what that means is when somebody says that, what they really mean is, I am not my husband's number one priority. That there are things or people who he clearly prioritizes over me. I come second to, or maybe third, or maybe fourth, or maybe not even at all to X, Y, and Z. I come after golf. I come after work. I come after hanging with the boys. I come after sports. I come after his band, whatever it is. That's a huge red flag. Basically what you're saying is I feel neglected and I don't feel prioritized and I don't feel like he pays attention to me. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on with them. Who knows? Katie, stop it. And then she also, it's like, that's another thing. It's like that quote. It's like when you come for the king, you better not miss. Same thing. When you come for the queen, you better not miss. I know Heather is having a moment and she's not her best right now. But Heather, whether you like her or don't, she's still that girl. She is. Hands down, she's flipping $50 million houses in her sleep. I'm sorry. She's that girl. Whether you like her or not, she's that girl. You got to give it to her, even though she is going through something right now. So you came for the queen and you missed, you fumbled terribly. So bye-bye, Katie. Alexis, bye-bye as well. I don't think you being engaged to Joe Bellino, to John Jansen, is enough to save you. You did nothing this season except for make a damn fool of yourself. You did nothing this season but make Shannon's star shine brighter. Because to be honest with you, Shannon, a big reason why she's shining so brightly is because she's shining so brightly against your darkness and Tamra's darkness. You know, a candle is so much brighter in a dark room than it is in the light. So she's shining so brightly because y'all are so freaking dark. So I'm done with Alexis. She doesn't need to come back. See ya. So that's kind of where I land on it. You guys, as always, I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, comment your thoughts. What do you think about the girls? Yeah. So with that, I will drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat with me. If not, no worries at all. So I just dropped the link in the chat box, and then I'll take some of your candy cane questions and comments. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Hey, Tay Tay. Tay Tay says Team Shannon. Hey, LGR Curve says, hey, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Yes. I took a big break, you guys. I took a massive break, which was much needed. I took the summer off, a little bit into the fall, but we back now. LGR Curve says Tamra is a parasite. True that. Hey, Mel, NYC, you want to share?
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you. Mwah.
Yeah, I was like, where you at? It was New Jersey. We needed you for a lot of these shows, and you were just. But you know what? If you were doing your thing and you were, doing your thing, that's good. But I missed you. I was like, where is she? We need her for the Teresa. We needed you, and I hope you do Potomac too. I hope that you.
Yes, I will be doing Potomac on Monday.
Good.
So, yep. So I'm back for fall and winter. I just took the summer off and a little bit into the fall. Yeah.
Okay. So that's good. You know, once because you know what, you're back for the heavy hitters, which is the Potomac, Beverly Hills. So that's good.
Yep.
That's good. You listen. You broke the girls down like in a good way, because you did it in such a good way. Oh, there's so much you said. So the Eddie thing, I remember when Eddie first popped up on the scene. I was confused about him, not based on the rumors, although there are a lot of rumors out there for a long time about Mr. Eddie. And God bless him and his medical issues, but there's been rumors for a long time. So when what's her name? When Vicky was talking about the rumors, it was messy. She talked about it, but she didn't make them up. They were out there. Those were rumors. A lot of rumors about Eddie out there. But for me, over the years, I just feel like for Eddie, I don't believe in the old-fashioned thing where you have to control your partner. I don't believe in that, but I do believe you should be honest with your partner. Tamra has been a hot mess, holy hell for a very long time, and yet he'll turn a blind eye. He always seemed to want to reprimand the other cast members on the sneak tip in the confessionals or in scenes with other people. But when it comes to his wife, he always seemed to think that, oh, yeah. Yes.
Oh, wait, one second. I just saw this. Thank you so much, Miss Jules FL. So this has been an awesome show. Have missed you. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. That is so sweet. I really appreciate that. And I've missed you guys too.
You've been missed.
Yeah, but it was a good summer and I'm refreshed and I'm happy to be back and I'm excited.
You know what I was going to say too, Candy? Yeah. I think that you've been needed because I was realizing that at one point there were so many different recap shows, but now everybody's either focused on Diddy or focused on this or focused on that. Or some shows, whether it's small or bigger, they don't like interact with the audience as much. Like they don't let people, come in and talk. So it's not giving. So your spot right now is much needed. If we want to turn off it. I think so. I think if we want to turn off Diddy or politics, this is the place to really communicate, So we definitely, a lot of people was like, we need this. I think that Eddie it's unfortunate that with his wife being as destructive as she's been, he never really says, he never really talks to her about that. He just sort of just co-signs all her mess, which is kind of crazy. Also, I think for me, as you said, Sydney, her daughter, her wonderful daughter, she told the truth about her for years. I think Sydney is the Bible when it comes to who Tamra Judge really is. And that's just where I go with that. Sydney never lies. She told the truth about her. And there was a reason why this young woman didn't want to deal with her. She knew about her more than the viewers did. So I trust Sydney about when it comes to Tamra. And I remember years ago, it was actually a couple of years ago, Tamra was, feeling herself before she got on the show, and she was like, "Oh, I was on the girls' trip or whatever it was, one of these epic things, and Jill Zarin is the most desperate, 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 desperate." Now, it made me sick when she said that, because that was at the BravoCon, whatever. Now here we got a couple of years ago where she's vilified, totally destroyed by the audience, Twitter, everybody, because of how desperate she's been. She's always been desperate. And I just thought that was just kind of crazy she would say that. I mean, she came in, I think somebody, one of the interviewers was saying that they felt that they felt like she thought she knew what lane to go into, that Shannon was going to be the villain. So that's why she doubled down so hard on her. And they come to find out, because Shannon's being vulnerable. Now, Shannon's not always been my favorite, but I will give her a gold star this season because she came in. She's been Shannon, but the audience seemed to really want to support her and uplift her. So that kind of played right into Tamra's face. And now she's using every dirty trick in the book, talking about her, mental health issues and all. It's just absolutely crazy. And as far as Shannon dating, I was going to say, Shannon came from a traumatic, totally drama-filled marriage. Then she went into a relationship with this man that turned into another drama-filled situation. Now, Shannon, unfortunately, will have to take some responsibility for her part in these toxic relationships. My hope for her, my prayer, is that she has fun. Just have fun with your life and with your daughters and your businesses, and really work on yourself for a season or two when it comes to any kind of issues you had with your dad or any other male figures in your life and then came into these relationships, that you really focus on that. Not that you're to blame, Miss Shannon, but just sort of clean that up so that when you go into something, you would never have a really healthy man saying, "Ooh, I think she calls me too much. Ooh, she's too drama. She's too this." No, you're going to come into it and say, "You know what? Whether the person connects with me or not, I'm good. I want to have fun in the present moment. And I'm not going to really get too excited. I'm not going to be destroyed. Just have fun, Miss Shannon. Get your groove back. But work on yourself and in the most best way you can. Basically, that's what I would hope. Just have fun with being kooky and doing new age and whatever else you're into. Just do that stuff. That was how we first were introduced to you. So do that. And because if you get into another relationship, you may be triggered to think, "Oh, this person's out to get me out." And that might ruin something. So just sort of love on yourself for a couple of seasons. And Gina and Emily, yeah, they're definitely useless in my opinion. I think that they're not needed. I remember it was an interview with this guy who actually I talked to years ago, whatever. His name is Bryce, and he's a wonderful interviewer on ET. And he did a funny thing, Candy. At the beginning of the interview, he said, "Emily and Gina, how does it feel for the first time in 6 years that the audience then started petitioning against you?" And he did say that. I was like, I can't believe this is on ET. And they were sort of gagged in the moment, but it's true. Like that, I guess it's the first year that the audience, but for every year the audience have not wanted them there, and I think that they're just mean spirited. I think that's it. I think you just did everybody. Oh, Alexis, I don't know. She's. I need to pray for her because she is just. Oh
Do you
my
think her and
gosh.
John Jansen will really get married?
You know what? And I believe they will. I don't think they love each other. I don't think that's love. I think it's
No,
just.
it's not love.
I think it's for the show. I think it's just it's Alexis. I think that when I'll never forget. What's this woman named Peggy? Yeah, I used to watch the show, and it was this funny lady. She's pretty on point. This woman named Peggy, who was friends with Alexis' ex-husband, I guess it was. And at that point, Peggy told the audience who Alexis was. This sort of thirsty, cliquey, kind of person. And it's true to her nature. This kind of behavior. This kind of way of doing things. So it's Alexis not being fake because this is how she's always been. But I understand now why she was off the show, because it's a lot. It's not really giving anything. It's tantrums, and she's the victim all the time, and just no awareness. So it's like I don't need her. But yeah, she's a lot.
I agree on all points. It is a lot. Oh.
It is. It's just kind of funny too that we went from one polarizing season of New Jersey, which we definitely needed you for. We needed you. I know we need you for that, but
it was too toxic. A big part of my break from Bravo was that it was too toxic. Like in the morning, I would be putting stuff together, and I like energetic would be like, this is too much. Like I need to like
Okay.
go focus. You know what I mean? It was just too much, and I was just like, no. But now I'm like, okay, let's get into it.
You know what? Well, I'm glad. And then on the now that I've covered the ladies, you covered them too. I want to ask you a quick question because Jeff Lewis is not one of my favorites. But I'm trying to remember now because I love your research, so I know you probably have the answer to this. What is the connection this season that there was a woman that was on the show a year or so ago? She's doing a podcast online. I forget her name. She's a housewife. She looks
Kelly
good
Dodd?
now. No, it's another lady who was a blonde. She had blonde hair and she was very
Elizabeth
rich.
Vargas?
There we go. Elizabeth. So Elizabeth was connected somehow to some of the problem. And also Jeff Lewis. I want to focus on Jeff. How is he connected to drama this season offline? Because there was something going on with them in the cast of the OC.
So I know that Jeff was supposed to make an appearance either on the OC or Beverly Hills. I think the OC.
Mhm.
And he even said it on Watch Happens Live, and then Andy got all mad and pissy and was just like, why did you say that? Like you're supposed to, like you're making an appearance. And he was like, I don't know, I didn't know it was a secret. But I guess for whatever reason, his appearance got edited out. And I guess he's not going to be shown this season, like on the actual show.
Okay.
So I don't know what happened with that. But what they're referring to in the show now is that, so the whole lawsuit with Shannon and John Jansen, he's saying, oh, I gave you $75,000 for a facelift and to cover some of your bills, but that was a loan and you were supposed to pay me that back and you haven't. And I sent you this, promissory note and all of this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And Shannon has always said, no, it was a gift. It was not a promissory. Your promissory note came afterwards. Like this was a gift, not a loan. And so she was then on the Jeff Lewis show, and Shannon and Jeff are very good friends.
Yeah.
And so they were on the show and they were talking about it. And he made some comment about, do you think that John Jansen heard your accident? Because John didn't come out to help her or anything like that, whatever the case may be. And so on Jeff Lewis, she goes, well, I haven't really thought about it. Now, the reason why Heather and Tamra, because Tamra's really the root of all this, was like, oh, Shannon's lying, she's lying, was because when they went to whatever spa they went to, I forgot where they went. When Shannon went into Heather's room and was crying and shaking because there was some alleged video that John had and he was going to use that to blackmail her and he wasn't going to, just take the money and shut up and go. She was like really upset and she was showing Heather this selfie of herself that she took when she was all bloody right after the accident. And she was like, I sent this to John. So like, he knew I was in the accident. He knew how messed up I was. Because I guess he hadn't like come out to help her or anything like that. So like, did he know what happened or not? And so now Heather was like, oh, you used me when you came in my room being upset and showing me all that stuff just to get that on the show and to get your story out there. But then you go on Jeff Lewis and say you never really thought about whether or not you knew about the accident. But all of that was nothing but Tamra. Because Heather didn't really feel that way. She was literally just regurgitating what Tamra fed to her. Mm-hmm. Oh, Shannon used you. Shannon's lying on Jeff Lewis. And then Heather, because Heather right now has such low self-esteem, unfortunately, is just taking the bait and being Tamra's mouthpiece and just being her little wind-up doll because she's so desperate and thirsty for friends, which is really sad.
Right, okay.
But I didn't take what Shannon said as Shannon lying. I took it as, in that moment, Shannon was in a corner. She's being threatened with a video that could potentially put her in jail. Like this, she's not facing something that's not a big deal. You can go to jail, especially if you think that you're trying to finagle the system or whatever. They will make, especially if you're famous, they will either give you a pass or they will try to make an example. And if you're a housewife, probably an example. Because you probably don't.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I felt like it was a reach and it was a stretch. And I felt like Heather kind of was a dumb in that situation. And Tamra was just her little evil self. And I took up like trying to pull the strings. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's kind of what happened with that. It was it was a nothing burger that they were trying to make bigger than what it was. And to me, Heather needs to get it together and really just wake up and separate herself from Tamra because Tamra doesn't like you, boo boo. Never has, never will.
Right, I get you because I saw a clip of them mentioning Jeff. I was like, how did he get involved? I'm like, because I do not like that man in his show. But thank you for breaking down.
You're welcome.
No, I don't like that
Yeah.
man.
You want to chime in?
I don't
Jacob?
like Jeff Lewis either.
Yeah, come on now, no, listen.
I don't know how that show stayed on for so long. I was like, get this off the air. How are you guys? Good to
We're
see you,
good.
Candy.
How are you? Thank you, Candy.
Good.
Are back.
This season is wow. I feel like all these people, most of these people, mostly, just Tamra and Heather, actually. I think it's just them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they thought that they were going to come off very differently. Because when I watch, I always try to imagine how do they feel, what are they thinking in the moment of filming, because they don't know how the edit is going to be, right? Like, they don't know what the final product is. And I think there's a few instances where they thought that, oh, this is going to look this way, and it came off the complete opposite. Like, I think that Heather, when she was like with that whole mammogram thing, I think the fandom is kind of split, whether she's right or wrong. And I think, and it's so obvious where she was trying to, to me, it seems like she was trying to play it up a little bit and be like, none of you asked me and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think, I was curious, like, were they filming in that room with Heather and Gina? They were, right? So I'm like,
no, they weren't.
Okay.
No, like they were filming in the room with Heather and Gina, but Shannon.
But then they moved, right?
But then they moved, yeah, because in the waiting room, when they go, oh, Heather said yay, who is it? It's Shannon and who's with Shannon?
Shannon, Gina. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's Shannon, Jenn.
It must just be Shannon and Jenn because in the room it's Gina and Heather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they were in the same room, but then Gina, they said, hey, we need to do an ultrasound or something. So then they moved elsewhere.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it seemed like they didn't allow the camera in there, because I think they would have shown it. And that's why I think that Heather probably thought, oh, okay, here's how I can play. I don't think Heather thought that they caught the yay on camera. And so I'm like, Heather, you didn't know that producers are playing you. That's the thing. It seems like the producers aren't on their side. Not on Tamra's side, not on Heather's side. I don't think...
I agree with you, but I also think it's because Tamra and unfortunately Heather, because I still love Heather. I think she's just going through something right now. But I think Tamra and Heather are just so insufferable. And I think if one thing that the production companies are learning now is they need to be transparent about their quote favorites rather than pushing their favorites onto the fandom when they're not our favorites.
Yeah.
So now we're getting a better cut. I slightly disagree with the Heather and the mammogram thing, only because I think that I don't think Heather's in a good place. I think she's sad. I think she's really going through something, and that's what we're seeing. And I do think that she really felt left out when nobody asked her, because Heather's the type of person that, and when she's surrounded by like Gina's and Emily's and people like that who think that, oh, she's rich and she's so much better than us, they think that she doesn't have feelings. They think that she doesn't need to be checked in on and all that stuff, when it's not true. Heather still is a human being. I do think her feelings were genuinely hurt when they didn't, hey, how are you? This is where I think it went wrong. Heather brings it up and they all talk about it. They're like, oh my gosh, we said the yay, but they were referring to, obviously they heard Heather say yay, but Heather was talking about Gina, not herself. So that's where the miscommunication came in. But they still should have said something, because I would feel some type of way if me and all my girls go and get mammograms when the time comes to get mammograms, and all of them are like, oh, how are you? Oh, good. And I'm the one who organized it, and nobody said, Candy, are you okay? I would feel some type of way too. But the thing is, this is where it always goes wrong. Why then is Gina, who to me is just so jealous and negative and nasty and just a wet blanket? I didn't know how to be friends with you, Heather. Like, you're talking, like, why are you mad about that? And Heather was like, I was over that yesterday. It's then when Gina and usually Emily inflate issues as if Heather is making them feel some type of way. No, your low self-esteem is making you feel that type of way. And then
Absolutely.
that's when the situation gets weird and crazy. And that's also hard too, because it's like, well, if every single time Heather Dubrow breathes, you have a breakdown, is it Heather's breathing at fault, or is it you at fault for that?
You know what, Candy, I agree with you. I think that Heather obviously is a little more emotionally intelligent than Gina and Emily, because it feels like if they have not really worked on themselves, then they will look for any reason to make her the villain. And also, when it comes to Heather, I think that you hit on something that not many people hit on. Her first seasons, anytime, I remember it was a time when what's her name, Tamra was getting married to Eddie, and there was an infamous time where they separated, and Gretchen. It was a very funny episode when Gretchen and them would just sit in the room. They were mad. It was like, how did they go out with the cameras having a good time and we here? And it was just a whole thing. Heather she was mad. She not only mad, but she was sad that she missed out on something. Anytime there was issues with Kelly Dodd, or anytime there was issues with Gretchen or whoever it was, and the girls were already talking about something, she missed out on that sort of togetherness. She felt a certain way. So that's just part of her nature. I think that Heather reminds me a little bit of Jill in that way, where it doesn't matter how successful you are, that if you're not really in your girlfriends, and really talking about stuff, I think Jill, to be honest with you, she can have a good time talking about coupons at the local C-Town. Like, she would just have a good time sitting around talking about coupons and who got the best, who tastes, what's the food about, and I think Heather would too. It's sometimes when it comes to the building of buildings and real estate, she talk about that with her agents. But when it comes to her girlfriends, she want to know about the kids, she want to know about the this and the gossip, she want to know all of it, and she want to be a part of it. She don't want to be pushed out. She want to be a part of everything. So for Heather, it doesn't really matter how big her business is. She wants to be, she want to be connected to her girlfriends, especially her lady friends.
Yeah, I would be interested to know if, like, how she was growing up. Like, if she didn't have a friend, or if something happened, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would wonder, because it seems to me it's like a inner child wound where
she was a theater kid.
I'm going to say that because that's going to say to you, Candy, too. Like, you probably know this part about her. I remember her from different TV shows before she got on. Just like Kenny, I remember her from different TV shows. I do. Like, it was like comedies and different things. And I think it was Lisa Rinna or some other actresses in Hollywood said, "Oh, I knew Heather for a long time. We were girlfriends, and we just stayed." So she was that girl that would.
That girl with Jenny McCartney.
Right, and Lisa Rinna, I believe, and just some other people that she kind of.
That whole crew.
Yeah, so she definitely was that girl that they would audition together. They would go out. They would just do, that stuff, the actress life, which is kind of cool. And you know what? One day I wish that Heather would get on the podcast, because she knows a lot of stuff about Hollywood, as far as like how to cast a couch and just so many different things that we talk about now. And obviously she's a classy lady now, but I would love her to get to that level and say, well, this is how it really was when I was growing up. I don't think she did it, but she probably knows stories about all that stuff.
Oh yeah. No, she talked about that, being into theater, and I was in theater too, and it's all the quote unquote weird kids, right? And then you find your like-minded weirdos there to hang out with. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting this season. The most interesting thing for me was when they showed that random little clip of Heather when she was at the place with Terry, and she was like, "Do not admonish me on camera like that." I was like, Heather. I was like, I can't believe they showed that. I was just like, Heather, how many seasons in are you? Do not say this with your mic on. But that just goes to show that they think that they're untouchable.
I think she thinks she's untouchable, but I also think it goes to the fact that
they're going through something.
That's my point. I think Heather is really going through something, and I think that's what we're seeing this season, because think about it, last year or last season with the Terry cheating allegations. I don't care who you are or how strong your marriage is. When there are cheating allegations on such a public level, that puts doubt, a chink in the armor. She said her kids were calling her upset about it because they're watching it. Then she does the whole paparazzi thing at Disneyland with Backgrid, like, trying to do all that stuff. I think that's a big part of it. And then again, we're talking about like the acting stuff. It doesn't matter that she's on reality TV and she has this money and stuff, when I don't think she feels that she fulfilled her true potential or purpose. Because like you said, she was a theater kid. She wanted to be an actor. And she talked about that last season, how she was saying how she regretted not focusing on herself and kind of giving up that part of her career and wanting to get back in it and wanting to audition. And then that's why everything gets so weird with like whatever, who was doing acting or something like that.
Taylor.
Yeah, when Taylor was doing it, all that stuff. It was like a Beverly Hills Country or something like that. Whatever.
Something in Oklahoma or something.
Yeah, whatever. It was the whole Knuckle, because you can have all the money in the world, but if your inside isn't right, you're not right.
And she's been talking about that for a long time too.
Long time. And I really think she's going through it, because people who, when you feel called to act or to create or to write or to sing, and if you really feel called to it and you feel like you never really went for it, that breeds resentment for the thing that you did do. I think she has a lot of resentment towards Terry. Sure, they have these businesses and these houses and this money, but that doesn't make up for feeling empty. We see Heather Dubrow as the wife, as the mother of these, kids, as this, but we don't really see Heather Dubrow, the woman herself. And when we do, it's kind of a broken, sad person, which is why she's fodder for somebody like Tamra Judge. If I am a Heather Dubrow, I'm not wasting not nanosecond on a chick like Tamra Judge.
Right.
Why are you being a pick me to her?
Again, I don't know.
Her whole life a million times. Not to make it about money, but we're talking about the housewives. You could buy her house her life a million times over, but yet you're being a pick me to this chick.
Right. But then what, Kenny, a couple of points. Again, you make a lot of good points. I remember when I used to watch Beverly Hills when Lisa Vanderpump was there first. And I remember there were times when Lisa Vanderpump was genuine. She was serious about how hurt she was by Kyle in those early seasons. Whether she was talking to Camille or what I think she said that don't they pick on the weak, whether that comment just followed her around for a long time. I used to think, wow, you work hundreds and hundreds of $1 million. This woman cannot be that sad, but she truly was. Obviously, in the other seasons, she was talking about the rumors of cheating, and she would bring up stuff, and it was all that kind of things going on. So I believe that these women on these shows who are very successful do have those little moments, those little sensitive spots in them that are not filled and can come out. But I'm always surprised with Heather that she has not done producing. Because I'm thinking about Garcelle and Kenya and some other wonderful ladies on Bravo now who don't have as much money. So I could see her like Roma Downey at that level, where Roma, she produces her films, she acts in some of her parts, the ones I think that Heather could do that too. Like she can produce, make money, and also be in front of the camera if you want to.
Like a Candy Burris.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
Like a Dubrow Productions or whatever.
She probably knows enough people.
100%. She definitely has the coins. If everybody else is doing it, she could do it 100%. But who knows? But that's what I think. That's maybe, I don't know how old she is or what the range is, but maybe it's like a midlife crisis type thing where it's like you get to a certain point in your life and you're like, yeah, I have all of these quote things. Why do I still feel unfulfilled?
Well, she mentioned that too, I think.
That's what I'm saying.
Last season or this season, she had lunch with someone who's not on the show, and she was like, with older women, you have fewer roles.
Yep.
That was maybe last season. But what in the world is going on with Emily? I can't feel for her, except I'm like, what are you doing? Another person who I think didn't think that it would get the edit it did. I believe, Emily, that she felt awkward and hated. Well, not hated, but she felt very uncomfortable during that fashion show. But I'm like, Emily, I'm pretty sure you know. Now, this is just my speculation. I don't think Heather designed a single thing that went down that runway. I think she just put her name on it. Same like Kyle. You know, like I don't. So I'm like, Emily, I think you know that it was all the designer who did all this. Not necessarily did it to you, but put on the whole show. And Heather said, hey, we're going to put it on our show. Why are you mad at Heather? Like, you know, Heather didn't do any of this. I'm so confused. And I think that, well, I'm not that confused. I think that Emily probably thought, oh, this'll look good on camera. But I think she did feel all those emotions. She just said, let's put it on Heather. I thought that was a hot mess.
I agree 1000% with what you said. All of Emily's feelings about the whole situation, sure, they're valid, but she poured them on Heather, which was completely the wrong person. And I also think you hit the nail on the head where these women, they're looking at it almost like through, I don't know, it's like a fishbowl or like a certain perspective where they think everybody is perceiving them and everybody else the way they perceive themselves and everybody else. But we are looking at it from like a bird's eye view. So like Tamra thinks everybody's going to hate Shannon. Alexis thinks everybody's going to hate Shannon. Gina thinks and Emily thinks everybody's going to hate Heather and all this other stuff. But we're looking at it totally differently. So then now that they're seeing the edits, you're right. They probably are shocked that they're not getting the edit they thought because we're not seeing it through their lens. We're seeing the entire situation, you know? So I agree with you. And I think that's a reason why I think Emily and Gina can go. They're just too like, no, I'm serious.
They could have gone their first season. I mean, honestly.
This is not the first season. They're nothing but like negative Nancy's and they're big hypocrites and two-faced as hell. You know, they say one thing to your face, something completely different behind your back. They create stories in their own head, and they repeat them to people as if it's the truth. And it's just, it's slimy and icky, you know?
I agree. I think it's a formula. I think it's a formula that they stick to. It's something that they've done for years. And for me, with again, the cast is filled with beautiful ladies. I love the housewife shows in general. But I think that for me, the thing that I get annoyed by and bored with is when any cast members on any show, they say, okay, this is what we like. Even with Giselle and Robin, they had the same formula for years. The two of them sat together, caused a lot of problems, and now one of them get off the show. We need the same thing to happen on OC because they are basically like Robin and Giselle for this franchise. Nasty, don't bring anything to the thing. It's a formula, and I think that as a viewer, I believe that Gina and Emily are more interesting than they want to reveal to people. I think that they don't need a formula, but that when you do it, you can get off the screen because you're wasting my time.
Who's more interesting?
Well, I mean, listen, I think that all the ladies are interesting in their own way. I think Emily and Gina can be interesting, but I think that right now they use a formula that is, as Candy was describing, is every year the same thing.
But I would say I have to agree with the court of public opinion. Emily and Gina should get their own show so their 4 viewers can have them to themselves.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Go ahead, court of public opinion.
They didn't need to come back after I mean, honestly,
I agree.
I still don't get it. I still do not understand why are they here.
And I think that's why the OC isn't doing as well as it should. Because I think that the OC, number one, it's the OG franchise. It was the very, very first one. And secondly, the OC is like super uber wealthy. And I know they're like, oh, the real rich people don't want to film. Well, Heather's a real rich person. She wanted to, like, Lisa Vanderpump was. You can find people. They just, and I'm not trying to be mean, but like, I don't want to see Gina's casita. Like, I don't want to see it.
Really.
I don't want anything that's super relatable on the Housewives. I want it to be super aspirational. I want it to be like I walk into their house and they have like a Himalayan salt bath, in the corner if I just want to go and take a load off or something. I want something crazy. Like when Terry and Heather were talking about, should we get a helicopter pad? I was like, it was like catnip. I was like, yes.
Right.
But then you have Gina's that's like, I'm getting a stripper pole in my kid's room. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was.
What?
Yeah, I don't quite understand. And another one, Gina, who I don't know
Mhm.
what she thought her storyline was going to look like to all of us, being vague and not being able to mention the legal documents with Travis and his ex-wife and whatever is going on. What did you think it was going to look like in the final edit? Did you think it was going to look good?
And did she allegedly push him down the stairs when she was drunk, and that's the real reason why she stopped drinking?
Listen, I have no idea. I
Mm.
have no idea. I don't even know what the
Allegedly.
problem is with Travis's ex-wife. I don't really know what that issue is because I
Mhm.
don't care. That's the thing. I didn't even bother to look it up.
Me either. I was like, that's a rabbit hole. I'll just leave it alone because I really don't care. And then also, why is she still with him? Like you separated the families. That's the first step to separation, not staying together. I'm super confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. She shouldn't have been back. She should have
Like,
left as soon as she got that divorce from that ex-husband, who is so handsome, by the way. But whatever.
it is. I know. It's like a Chris Brown thing. It's like you're so hot, but you're so bad. But you're so hot.
Terrible, terrible,
Definitely,
terrible.
definitely Chris Brown energy got. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
what? When I think of Gina and her current, person, it is kind of crazy, very crazy that both of them have issues with domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
It's really like, what is going on? Like that part is really disturbing. I would say very disturbing.
Does he?
Well, I mean, didn't somebody got pushed down the stairs or something?
I
Oh
mean,
well.
allegedly she pushed him
Allegedly,
downstairs. Allegedly. But like what led
allegedly.
to that? What's happening before that and after that? And we
Yeah.
do know she has the past. Like, it's just a lot. It's like, is that the real reason why you guys split up houses? Is, like, what's really good? It's like she wants everybody else to tell the truth. Shannon tell the truth. Heather tell the truth. Well, Gina, what's good with you, sweetheart?
Yeah.
You
Very
know,
disturbing her
there's a
things.
fly in the milk. You don't separate families. By that, I mean, like, you have her 3 children and his 3 children coming together, and they've been living together all these years, being brought up together. You don't separate families lightly.
Hmm.
But she also brought up how, and I actually thought this was a really good point. I was happy that she was mindful of this, how her financial situation is getting better because now that she's doing, real estate and she has the show, she's like, I can provide more for my children, but how do you provide for your own, but not all? Because his financial situation isn't that great, according to her. They couldn't afford a bigger house. He's still paying because I don't even think he's legally divorced. They're in
No.
something,
Oh, wow.
yeah, they're
No.
in something like escrow for divorce or something like that. They're in some type of waiting period. And I don't know, is his money going to his ex? The ex
I
is,
think it's a custody thing.
yeah. So it's like,
That's what the issues are that she's
yeah.
alluding to.
So, and she has a good point on that. But then how do you stay in that situation? Because you're still doing the same thing. Just because you live in a different house, the kids aren't stupid or dumb. They know that Gina and Travis are still pulled together, but yet 3 of the kids are getting more than what the other 3 are. And when you're little children like that and you have your little brains and your little hearts, you're going to feel some type of way. Why are we left out? Are we not good enough? And then they grow up to be people like Tamra.
It all leads back to Tamra.
Always like Tamra or Heather. You get everything in the world on paper, but yet you still don't feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam.
Hi, Candy.
What's up?
I'm good. Just had a crazy Friday, but I'm glad that as after last night, we're back together, like recapping this. I mean, OC is a mess, and with what you were saying, with what you were saying just about 5 minutes ago, like there isn't really this real wealth of experience. As you said, this was the original, this was the OG, the organic franchise. Yet we're not really seeing that, and not to downplay it, at least she's got something, but Gina's, as you said, Casa isn't hidden. Like, and to me, what I kind of liked is when Shannon was introduced to everyone on this show back in season 9, she was introduced through Heather because they lived in the same gated community, which was this area called Crystal Cove.
And she had a big house.
Which is like the equivalent of, if you think of Beverly Hills, where Adrian, Camille, and Lisa Vanderpump all lived in. It's like the equivalent of that. Mm-hmm. And Heather, until she sold her house, was living there, and now she's kind of like floating left, right, center, kind of given this I want to be on Beverly Hills vibe the whole time. And I mean, with OC, I've only really been watching it through the clips online, but because it's just really not worth my time. And after the mess of what Tamra said to the Nat, I can't. If you're going to use neurodivergence, if you're going to use neurodivergence as a get out of jail free card, like that is just so low. And like I can't even believe. I mean, maybe that's me being naive because this is Tamrat at the end of the day, but for someone to do that is beyond.
I don't think anyone saw that coming.
I don't think anyone did. I just think, like, to me, that's just so.
And did you see the video? And did you see the video clip I played of what she said? She literally looked like she was reading off of a script. No, I'm dead serious. She was on her computer. She was like, "I talked to my therapist," and then Teddy was like, "Oh, really? What did your therapist say?"
Yes.
It was whack. Like, I'm a better actress than that. I was like, what the hell is going on? And now she's trying to like wheel it back. But the problem is, and this is where it gets sticky, and Heather McDonald from Juicy Scoop brought this up too. There's like the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so the reason why we deduced Tamra did this was so that community of people is protected under that act, because those people need to actually be protected and not, unduly discriminated against. Exactly. And so they were thinking, oh, she came out with this statement so that NBC can't fire her.
Shut up.
Literally.
And it's like that sticky situation where it's
there's no doubt about it. To me, it was a get out of jail free card.
It was a get out of jail free card. Because you know what? I believe in manifestation. You watch what you say. And she said she wanted to be like Lisa Rinna. And Lisa Rinna got fired. And she was on her way to getting fired just like her. And so she came out with this statement that she was on the spectrum because she wanted to be protected by the ADA Act. Now she's trying to reel it back in because she got called all the way out. She thought that she could use mental health as some cover, but no, it's all about transparency and authenticity these days.
What did she think was going to happen?
I think she thought she would play the victim and people would be like, oh, get the help you need, Tamra. Oh, we understand. Oh, it's okay. It's giving Raquel Leviss vibes after Scandival. It's like, it's worse that she said this. And then she was like, oh, and I wanted to check myself in a mental health facility. It's like the same thing with Raquel. It's like, like, what does a mental health facility have to do with you busting it open for your best friend's man? Like, if that's the case, then a lot of women need to go to mental health facilities because a lot of women are busting it open for their best friend's man. It's nothing to do with that. Same vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, girl, bye. I need to go to a mental health facility. No, you do need to go to therapy, but lack of empathy is a sign of narcissism, not being on the spectrum. And that's what makes it so disrespectful. It's like, oh, I'm evil because I'm on the spectrum. No, you're just evil because you're soulless.
To me,
absolutely.
Like I don't think like, you can't make this stuff up. Literally, the fact that someone will go this low, it says it all about them. And we already knew that Tamrat literally was the lowest of lows, and made
and Teddy too. And Teddy,
the Nat to me is is the most disgusting person. I mean, like the fact I still can't believe to this day she questioned the legitimacy of Lisa Vanderpump's brother passing. Like that is how messed up that girl's head is. Like I don't know what she needs to just go away. And like, I mean, the fact that her two twats in the podcast is getting renewed again is beyond. I mean, I was hearing about all the flack about Jeff Lewis. I mean, I actually like that he was being a realist to Ray Penthouse Andy Cohen. I mean, he at the very start of OC, I saw this clip on Instagram where he said it was more like the takedown Shannon season, and Andy just got so triggered because he's like, "You said that." And he's like, "Well, I'm just speaking the facts." Like like to me, you know, he may not deal with things the best way, but he's spelling it out. Whilst you actually have people like Andy Cohen who always wants to play layers, like always not revealing the whole picture. Like it always reveals like just 5%, and that's why like when you think of like other franchises like Potomac, he was like, "Oh, I didn't really think it was that bad for Monique," and all this stuff. Like literally, like these types of people are on like a whole different level of narcissism. And to me, I just don't know with this this woman though, that the fact that she would use that as her, as you said, justification to play some act or whatever, that you can't fire me, when everyone knows that her behavior is repugnant and just disgusting. To me, I don't understand, as you said, why Heather Dubrow has said, "Let me just be best friends or good mates," as we say over this side of the pond. We're
Take Shannon out.
Like to me, to say that you're good mates with Tamra, yet you are meant to be this person of opulence. I mean, she to me, I don't know, but out of all the cast, other than Tamra, the person that annoys me the second most, well, I don't even want to mention their name, but the one that is literally so thirsty and such a beg, that being Alexis Bellino. I mean,
Alexis,
trying to make your identity John Jansen's wife for your life, like, I mean, props to you. That what makes you happy, but that's not my entertainment. You can go on like some wacko 90 Day Fiance or something like that to me. But I think Tamra, I in the old seasons, fair enough, entertaining, but just gone low. But Gina and Emily, I want to know why they're here. And
me too.
And just for the props, Emily knows who I am because just the other month she had to block me for saying that she should be fired.
Shut up. Where'd you post that at?
I just commented on the OMFG reality TV Instagram account, and then I got blocked.
Oh
wow,
wow,
that's so sensitive.
Very sensitive.
And I'll say this. So for me, listen, I mean, you said people that I know firsthand. Look at Miss Candy. I know firsthand that sometimes these households can be very sensitive. Now, I think that when you're across the pond, you can be a little more, braver, because over here you got to be a little mum to word. Like we use allegedly all the time. When I didn't use allegedly one time, I got caught up in a cease and desist at one point. So I'm like, you know what? Yes, I did, sir.
Oh,
so
yeah. Oh, that's right. Yup.
Yeah, I got caught up in
Erica James?
No. It was Miss Jenkins. Miss Jenkins.
Oh, that's right.
Oh God.
Yes. So I think
well.
Yeah, so I think that for me, but the YouTube obviously changed, especially in America, where everybody, if you talk about Cardi, you talk about Nick, whoever you talk about, the lawyers come for you real quick. So I think that people who in Africa, London, other places, y'all got it better to come and call into these shows because they can't track you down in international waters. They can't get you. So I say, go ahead and say the truth that y'all know it. That's what I say.
Yeah. I would love to see Heather and Shannon be friends. I think a season of the two of them getting along and having fun when they're both in a good place would be iconic.
It'd be good, yeah.
I think that's a duo that we don't know we need, that we really, really need.
Yeah.
Because we almost had it when
What's
Shannon
funny,
first came on the show. And again, Tamra was the one who broke them up, because Tamra was telling Heather, oh, Shannon drinks a lot. She's not in a good place. David's cheating on her. Remember? And then that's what got in between Shannon and Heather. That's when they had their whole blow up. But prior to Tamra interjecting, Shannon and Heather were on the way to being good friends because, like you said, they live in the same neighborhood. And Heather was like, oh, you live in my neighborhood? Let's be friends. They were starting on that way, but Tamra interjected, and they never could kind of find their footing back again. But I actually think if Shannon and Heather were in a good place, and when we got rid of the dead weight, like the Ginas and the Emilys of the situation, and the Tamras and the Alexises, honestly, and the Katies, because Katie is a waste of
you know what? Though?
Oh, you don't like her?
Katie, like I don't really.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I don't really vibe with her, like saying like, oh my god, like she's fantastic. But I would rather keep her as an ally to someone like Jenn and get rid of I'm bored as hell, Gina, and I take her Ozempic every day, Emily. But yeah.
I like Katie.
I would rather Jenn and Katie as a duo than Gina and Emily. I agree with
because to me, we've already been there, done that, and the thing with it is that I think it's somewhat nice that she, is doing Shannon a favor, because I saw that she's like the special guest with Shannon and Vicky have this tour thing that they do. But you can be a prop, but I don't want you to be a main character on my screen. Like, to me, like if I was like a film producer and director, like I would tell my casting agents they could be like the $50 a day type of person that could just be an extra. But
not
like,
an extra, not background.
But
for casting.
But to me, like it's just kind of laziness with a lot of this cast, and it's just kind of like I see if we had to compare it to yesterday's recap, like I would say that Shannon and Heather are kind of like your Meredith and Lisa Barlow type of figures. Like to me, they're the real deal. As you were saying, we saw them as a duo for like 5 seconds back in season 9. Yep, I'm gonna like see your interior designers and your contractors. Maybe we could be friends. But then we let insecure Tamra, despicable human being, interject. And the other thing that I kind of found weird is that on her before she got banned from doing her podcast with the Nat, because for some reason I like Erica, but she's gone as low as being the Nat's co-host to review the OC. I saw from a clip that when Shannon had to spell it out to the Nat online.
Oh, I saw that.
That was the fact that Erica would go as low to be the Nat's co-host is a joke.
I thought Erica didn't like Teddy.
Oh, she likes her for the sake of Kyle, because Kyle is best friends with the Evolution people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because if anyone says that Kyle isn't just is an ordinary cast member of Beverly Hills, but before she got banned, Tamra would always like throw these jabs at Shannon, kind of like these jealousy jabs. Shannon can't relate to people. She grew up very wealthy. She went to USC, and all these kind of like jabs. And I was just like, well, you said you love her and you want this to be your friend, but you're attacking someone's childhood. That's how, like, literally, like
it's just
to me,
classic jealousy.
Like to me, it's okay to have some would say you're just dealing with synonyms here, but in England we have a big thing with synonyms that they can mean different things, and in this case, that there's a difference when it comes to being envious and then when someone's pure jealous.
Oh,
You know, it's cool to envy something like, you know, oh, Lisa Vanderpump's house, Heather Dubrow's house. Oh my God, I envy these houses. But to the point that you're making fun or trying to get the public against someone over someone's childhood, that's when you're just jealous and you're
bitter.
kind of borderline,
very
borderline bitter and borderline satanic in some ways.
And it's weird
What?
because
Lord, boy.
it's interesting how Shannon, I don't think she's ever really had a period of being hated, but Tamra's had a few periods of being hated. So that's funny.
I've always hated Tamra.
Oh,
you guys know me. I know. I read the energy in the room. I read the energy. No, because Tamra's always been very dark, and she's always hated Vicky. The reason why I don't like Tamra is because she doesn't like anybody.
Right.
She's always been really mean. She tried to get what's her name? Was it Gretchen or was it
Gretchen?
In the closet, when she was in the closet and she was like wasted.
Yeah, naked
wasted.
Mm-hmm.
That's called assault. Like if somebody is blackout drunk and you're trying to get them with somebody with her son in the closet.
Which was that was definitely very.
I didn't realize that this woman is blackout drunk and Tamra's son is sexually doing stuff to her in the closet.
Right.
And nobody was like, wait a minute.
He was kissing her.
Good. Yeah. That's
and I was going to say too, isn't that, I mean, that was probably why Sydney, her daughter, was so, at the beginning, she said she wanted her mother off the show because she was so embarrassed by Jesus jugs, naked wasted, so many different things that Tamra was doing on the show. She said that she was embarrassed by the way that she talked about, about her father. That was what Sydney, those were her things. That's why I think recently Vicky said, get off the show. And she came on the video with her face looking, God help her. It was looking all scarred up and messed up and looked like an alien. And she said, get off the show because that's what her daughter was asking for years. So I think that Tamra definitely, my favorite scene, I agree with you, Candy. I didn't like her from the beginning either. There was one scene where this woman, she was, I think, in relationship with the guy from 98 Degrees. I forget her name, but she was a cute, beautiful lady, and she had long hair. But they were all they ambushed her at the table at one point in one of the vacations in early seasons. It's a scene, a meme on Twitter where she's running through. Noelle, no, not Noella. It was another lady. But the scene that with Tamra is running away from the table barefoot and she's running.
Oh, with
Lizzie, that was right. That was my favorite. That was my favorite because when she came to that scene and she didn't know that's what's going to happen, and she said, "Oh my gosh, Tamra and Heather and Vicky and Lizzie and they all get," and she ran. She said, "I'm never going to speak to you again," and she ran barefoot.
Oh yeah,
that was what the hell? That was when they got her really good at that time. They didn't. So yeah.
I have a good question. I have a question for you guys. A little same world, different topic. So have you guys heard that Jennifer Lawrence is doing a movie based on the Housewives?
No.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit, yes.
I'm sort of like, I hope it's good, but I kind of feel like it's going to be too caricature-y.
It's going to be like a parody, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a murder mystery and like Nicole Kidman's joining it and all this stuff. So we'll see.
Well,
I think that could be interesting. I think that could be fun if they play into it. Like, you got to play it up.
Because there's a movie going around now called The Apprentice that's getting buzz with this guy from the Avengers movies. He's playing. I don't want to say the idiot man name, but he's playing the ex-president. He's playing the ex-president that's deranged. Yeah. And so there's a deranged ex-president, a national terrorist in my eyes, but don't get me started politics. We go on for 3 hours.
No.
Yes, we're not going there. No. But he took that man and he made into a picture that is getting buzz. So I think that if the writers is on point, it could be good. Because I remember they did it was a show I was addicted to. They did a show called oh my gosh, it was about The Bachelor, and it was critically acclaimed. It was this show on Lifetime. There we go. I love that show. It was on that show. Yeah, you said you was on that show too?
No, my friend was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a good show. They took
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said I think season 1.
Okay, yeah, because that show it was of course Bachelor is camp, total camp is manufactured. Boy, did they take that show and make it real. They made it. It was about the filming process and auditions and the casting count. So maybe that might be who knows? Maybe they have some ex producers who can because that any book that goes behind the scenes, it's not all rose. I think it was the book that came out years ago. That book was pretty good. That talked about the behind the scenes of the Bravo and Andy, and then the Housewives, and
Yeah.
So maybe that book could have inspired some of the real stuff that goes on behind Bravo.
Who knows? I think it'll be interesting. I don't think they've written from what I've seen, from what I've read, I don't think they have the script fleshed out yet. I think they just have like the idea. Yeah, because they keep saying things like, I don't even think the title will be The Wives. They'll probably change it, but it's like The Wives, and it's like produced by Jennifer Lawrence, and she's gonna star in it. And they have like two writer guys. I forget who they are, but they're two. Not that it matters, but they're like two like gay guys, and they did a lot of.
Oh,
like,
you need the gays.
Right? Yeah, they're two.
Sorry.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I didn't want to sound like, you know what I mean. And they're gonna write it. I forgot what these guys have done before. I forgot their names, but I don't think the script is fully done yet. But I think they're probably working on it. But it's going to be like a murder mystery with Nicole Kidman too.
Okay.
So I think that'll be interesting. We'll see. I wonder if they will, because the thing is, it's like if it's inspired by the Housewives, like does NBC get a cut? Is there copyright here? Like, how does that work?
I don't think so. I don't know because like the whole show was a play off of Desperate Housewives, right?
Desperate Housewives and Peyton Place.
So and
was
I
Desperate
think it was like
Housewives NBC?
obvious, right?
I'm sorry. Wait,
Was Desperate Housewives NBC?
No, it was ABC.
ABC.
Okay, so that's Disney. Yeah. Okay.
So maybe I don't know. I think that if I think that they won't make it so blatant. I don't know, but then again, they've already said it's based on Real Housewives, so
yeah, like that's like they're like it's The Wives based on Real Housewives. Lawrence is obsessed with them. I wonder if they'll reach out to like actual Housewives producers or anything like that. We'll see though, because that just made me like really interested. I was like, oh, that's like interesting.
I don't know. And speaking of, well, not on that, but when you said that you don't think Tamra likes anybody, that made me think of that daughter she's been recently filming with on the show.
She doesn't like her either.
I don't think she likes that girl because first of all, where has she been after episode 3? Have we seen her since?
No.
Where is this girl?
So that whole story, she was like, oh, now that she's 18, she's allowed to film because Simon didn't let her.
Right. I believe that. I truly do believe that. But I don't think that girl likes Tamra either.
No, I think she's using her as a prop.
She is.
A prop in a storyline. I don't think Tamra likes anybody. I don't think Tamra likes herself. I don't even think she really likes Eddie like that.
She doesn't like herself. That's for guaranteed.
Do you remember how she used to treat? You remember how she used to treat her mother, and the father and all them? Yeah, she's.
No, there's something really weird and off and dark about her, because you can't go so hard and so in the way she treated Vicky, and Vicky made the point about, we talked about it earlier, how she went so hard against Vicky and Brooks. Again, Brooks was a scammer, con artist, fake cancer. But now all of a sudden, she's faking being on the spectrum to get out of accountability. What's the difference between Brooks faking cancer and her faking being on the spectrum, allegedly, in my opinion? You know what I mean? So it's like, girl, you're doing the same thing. It's like, do you go so hard with Jenn and Ryan and Shannon and John Jansen and all that because you care, or because you get pleasure in humiliating your friends?
I think that she's a vampire. I think she's an emotional vampire that basically she uses the other people in the cast to stay on the show, and she doesn't really. It doesn't matter how close you are, because I was shocked. I was totally shocked that her and Vicky relationship kind of went where it went. I was like, whoa, they were just together last year. So when that happened again, I was like, okay, yeah, this woman is definitely She'll use anybody. I mean, obviously, again, I don't keep bringing up this woman's kids, but at one point, the way Mia is getting a lot of fire right now this season of Potomac. But I think that Tamra was the blueprint. The way that she talked about her kids and all, it was just too much information, and they were embarrassed. So if she can talk badly and embarrass her loved ones, and then nobody's safe. Nobody's safe in her circle. She can't even go into like a spinoff show like the Girls Trip and try to embarrass people she doesn't even know over there. Like it's crazy. It doesn't matter where she goes, she's always coming up. Again, it's kind of like Brandy Glenville, because I have an issue with her too, the way she does things. I don't
let Brandy live at this point. Like, I'm worried about Brandy. Like, we had light a candle for her.
I don't like her because but she gives me that vibe. I don't like any kind of man or woman who, every time they go somewhere, they go, "Oh my gosh, I have tea on somebody." I'm like, that's not true. I don't believe you. I don't believe that you have all these tea about people. I think you make things up. I think you use people just like a tabloid magazine. I think that you, like you said, as you said, Candy, I think that something's wrong inside. You need to heal yourself, and you need maybe other people around you who are strong enough to say that you're wrong, and if you show up as a real woman and show up and being real, that might be compelling TV. But to use people all the time when daggone well you have a lot of skeletons in your closet, after all these years, is crazy to me. And I think that's another formula that's kind of boring. But some of the other women does that on other shows too. That's the characters I don't like on these shows that have a lot of stuff going on, and then they want to be vicious and try to pull everything out of other people, even if they're making things up. Yeah. So, that's just not, that's Tamra. Yeah. That's why when she talked about Jill that time, I was like, you gotta be joking. That's thirsty. You the most thirstiest person that's ever been on Bravo, in my opinion. So
I think the biggest tell is when you watch these scenes with the housewives or any reality type show, and like Selling Sunset or whatever the case may be.
Oh, Selling Sunset. Oh my God, that's a different
right. And the person who's not in the room, name is always in your mouth. That's the person who is that girl then, because that person is making the entire show and the entire scene. Shannon's not in the room, but Shannon is always in name is always in Tamra's mouth and everybody else's mouth. Yeah, isn't in the scene, always in Emily and Gina's mouth. So it's just like, you're that girl when you're not even in the scene, but you are the scene.
Yeah, that's true.
That's really the most telling part about it. Not Vanderpump Rules, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Lisa Vanderpump left the show, and for an entire season they still have her name in their mouth. Absolutely. Entire scenes about Lisa Vanderpump, and she's not even on the show anymore. Literally. That's how you're that girl. Yeah. When it's like, I'm not in the scene, but I'm the scene. Okay. Got it. Clocking it. And that's the difference between like a Tamra, who she's never talking about her stuff. She's always talking about everybody else's stuff. Even like a Kyle Richards up until now, never talking about her stuff, always talking about everybody else's stuff, versus like a Shannon Beador or a Karen, even like a Karen Huger, or I don't know, anybody else who's like, who can just carry stuff. What they're talking about is their own stuff. Like they are the moment, or like a Giselle, or Garcelle, not Giselle, Garcelle.
Don't get those two confused. That's a sin. That's a sin.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's late, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? But I hear you. You're absolutely right. I'm gonna actually drop down, but I can't wait because you talked about Giselle. Well, I'm looking forward to the conversation again, Miss Candy. On Monday, Potomac. We're gonna do it again on Potomac.
Oh, you doing Potomac, Candy?
I'm doing Potomac on Monday. Yep. I got some thoughts.
I can't wait. I can't wait because you know what? Maybe
Stacey girl.
Oh, the Stacey girl. You know what? We're gonna save it for Monday. We got you.
All right. Yeah. Good. No.
It's gonna be good.
That whole black conversation. I was like, girl, okay. Live in the DMV. You don't got no black people around. What?
The conversation with Ashley of all people. Girl.
But Ashley. But again, you brought up something, Jacob. I think it's Jacob, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was looking at the name. You know what? But Ashley's response, that part, I can't wait to share with you, Kenny, what I feel about that. That troubled me because I'm like, Ashley, you've been on this show for all these years, and yet you're still responding the way you are. Like I have some thoughts about what Ashley said because I was disappointed. I was like, wait a minute, what the? Oh no.
All right, Monday though.
Monday. Yes, right. Monday. Got you. All right, Miss Candy, welcome back and have a good weekend. Have a good weekend.
You too. Happy
All right.
Friday. Thank you, Mel.
Yes, have a good weekend. It's time. I gotta go to bed too.
Yeah, I'm sleepy too. Bye, Mel.
All right,
All right.
good. Have a good night, you guys.
You too. So good to see you, Jacob. Mwah.
Night, Jacob.
Any final thoughts, Adam?
Okay, my final thoughts are that they need to have the realist reunion and actually spell it out. Like, they need to actually have some ownership of how well Shannon is in this season. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have a
season.
We would have been sleeping.
Yeah.
We would have been sleeping. And to me, I like Heather, but I'm just disappointed. I just don't understand.
I mean, did you see my slide?
Yes, I did. I was like, I know she's going through something. She's going through something, and it's very odd. But I just think, yeah, Jenn Pedantry, she may not have like loads of money like Heather Dubrow, or even when Shannon was with David, that caliber, but she is entertaining and spelling it out. I mean, the scene where she actually just breaks the fourth wall and was like, I don't care, I'm going and I'm making sure that your hair dryer is going to be switched off and you're going to hear me loud and clear. And I personally think they're not going to do so because they're not going to take their own ownership. But I think the Bravo TV, Instagram, or now Twitter, now X account.
Yeah.
Sorry, I still can't get over the fact it's now called X. It's just weird.
It's always Twitter. It's just Twitter.
Yeah. Sorry, Elon. but I think they should have some public apology, because, like, to me, I just don't understand how someone. Well, we know she's low, but we didn't ever think that this was going to be something that we would have to witness, like, tomorrow. Like, that's like someone saying to you tomorrow that the sky's going to be purple. Like
that part.
But I kind of think Katie, she's better than I thought she was going to be, but to me, you're not a 5-star for sure, but you're not even 4-star. You're just a person that's just an inch above mediocre. That's me being nice, an inch above mediocre. That's but to me, if I had to, I would say the top two, obviously we know, would be Shannon and Heather. And if I had to give a bronze medal, it would be Jenn Pedantry.
Agreed.
But Emily is someone. Gina is boring as anything, and so is Emily. But Emily's a snaky one. Like,
Emily is a snake. She's like a low key snake that nobody expects.
I'm glad she knows who. I'm glad she knows who I am, because, like, the fact that she blocked me after flat out just saying you're boring and you just need to go. Like,
you struck a nerve with that one to block you.
I mean, I forgot to also tell you yesterday when you were covering Salt Lake City, the other person that blocked me was the Neutralist co-host.
Was who?
The Neutralist co-host. They start a brand new podcast. The former cast member being
Monica.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just found out the other day because Freddie tried to send me something of the Neutralist and her podcast, saying like they're looking for stuff and just reaching. And I was like, I can't see a damn thing you're saying. It's just as well.
They kept trying to go after Lisa Barlow. Like,
Yeah,
leave Lisa alone. Like, Lisa did nothing to you. Why are you so mad?
And I just said it's just as well that I'm blocked from that account. I'd rather be blocked from that account than be in her position where she's probably blocked by Lisa Barlow herself. But yeah, so it's quite strange because half of these people are so super thin skinned, and like to me, I just don't. It's kind of a shame because with this cast, I kind of feel that as it's the OG franchise, do you think they should do what they're doing with New Jersey and literally take a chill pill and like put this on pause for like a good old 7 months or whatever, and like actually
I think they just need to cut bait.
Yeah, but who would it be? Who would they replace? Because like no one wants to see Tamra return.
No, I think Gina and Emily and Tamra should go. And I think Katie should be a friend of. Jenn should stay. Alexis, she can do some cameos here and there just for like shits and giggles. And then they should bring 3 new people on.
And I think that Vicky should also return.
Oh yeah, bring Vicky back and then bring 2 new people. Bring Vicky the OG back, then bring 2 new people on who actually have money and who are fun to watch and have self-confidence.
Yeah, so and some people will say it's controversial, but I kind of also think Heather said she would never work with her, but Kelly Dodd was like someone who spelt it out. Like,
Kelly Dodd's a little too unhinged.
Yeah, I think kind of like you have to
stuff and things like that. Like Kelly's a little too unhinged. Like she can stay on YouTube with me and her husband.
but to me, I want someone from Shannon and now they're both former residents. Shannon and Heather's former gated community.
That would be interesting.
That's actually fun to watch. I don't want to have some.
What do you guys think about bringing back Noella?
I think Candy and her were like big friends. I'm kidding.
I like Noella, but I don't think. I think she has too much. I don't think she's a fit for the Housewives. Maybe a different type of reality show, but I don't think she was a fit for the Housewives. What do you think, Adam?
I liked her, and as much as I like Heather, kind of liked it how she could stand up against Heather. However, I kind of feel that she was acting like she wanted to be some wannabe Vanderpump Rules cast member the whole time. Like that's how I kind of felt, and I agree with you with not being a fit for the show. But kind of like if you're going to be on a show like this, don't act like you're 22, like the whole time. Like I know you have people like Ashley Darby and Potomac who joined the show somehow when they were 26. But then again, you have to be unique to be 26 to be married to some 55-year-old Australian guy. But you know,
yeah, I think Noella's good for reality TV, but just not the franchise.
I think if there was some OC style Summer House Vanderpump Rules, maybe that would be her. But like, I don't know.
I think she would be more on like a Selling Sunset somehow. You know what I mean? She looks more like one of those girls.
I mean, do you think she's woke like Rochelle?
Wait, what?
Do you think Noella's a bit woke like Rochelle? Because that show's now basically woke on Sunset.
Yeah.
Because like to me, like when I saw what like maybe people in your comments disagree, but on Selling Sunset, ever since Christine left, the show became dead. That's how I feel. Like, but to me, yeah, ever since I saw on Selling Sunset when you heard Rochelle saying she was giving elderly people pronoun lessons. Like, I'm sorry, like people, like I know for some woke reason it's on all the job applications nowadays and all this stuff, and you get asked like, what is your preferred name? But like, if you're going to tell an 85-year-old what pronouns are, then you have too much time on your hands. like to me, I just think I think that will work. And if we have people from that Crystal Cove community, not only would we have wealth displayed, but we would actually have vibrance of energy. I mean, with Beverly Hills, for example, aside from the fantastic homes, their lifestyles, their business ventures, would actually go to places that people like Giselle and Ashley would only dream of from Potomac. Like, and OC being this exclusive district, it's kind of Gina's house that's smaller than Sheena's from Vanderpump Rules kind of says it all to me. Kind of like, we don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
With
Mm-hmm.
with the reunion,
I think we're gonna be disappointed.
I think
Shannon,
you're right. Sadly, I think you're right. I believe that we're not going to see what I said I wanted earlier, which is I wanted it to be explicitly clear that Shannon's the MVP. You're gonna have a Penthouse Andy Cohen trying to point out how Tamra and Heather's the MVPs, and I'm sorry, but if they bring this repugnant individual back after I mean, like, to me, and she's such a hypocrite because she was saying all this stuff when it came to Vicky and whatever his name was. What was the guy's name?
Brooks.
Yes, she was the most vocal, saying that Vicky was a narcissist to not stand up to him and all this stuff. But she was also super vocal saying, "Oh, I quit the Tres Amigos group thing because of your actions and your statements, Shannon. It was getting too much to the point it was affecting my brand." So someone doing something silly and actually showing remorse is one thing, but someone lying about having a neurological condition, like, I'm sorry, make it make sense. What her and
It's just it's absolutely disgusting.
And to me, when she got called out by this, there was an actual neuropsychiatrist that said no one is diagnosed within
The first session, yeah.
within one session. I mean, I don't know, like, if it's the same your way, but we actually hear it on the news over the last week. There are people where it takes 6 months or even 2 years because they were literally the neurologists have kind of been told by the government, like, because
you have to do your due diligence. You can't just be like check. You have to like really make sure like what the situation is.
100%. But do you have any more expectations to what we're going to see in the next, like, what do we have? 2 episodes left. There's probably this coming episode next week, and then probably the finale.
I think it's gonna get worse and more explosive between everybody. That's kind of what I expect to happen. Probably some more blow ups. And then I think when Tamra is now watching and she's getting all the backlash, I think we're going to see a very fake and phony Tamra at the reunion, probably crying and blaming different things and wanting to make up, and then having a sympathetic Shannon. Heather Dubrow hasn't worked on herself, so she's going to be the same kissing butt type situation. I think it's going to be I think the last 2 episodes will be good, but I think the reunion is going to be very unsatisfactory. But I think because of that, I don't see Shannon and Tamra's reconciliation lasting, because I hope it doesn't. At least I hope Shannon gets a clue and doesn't take her back in her life. That makes sense.
I think, I think at the end of the day,
because remember the reunion was filmed before the true backlash came with Tamra. Before she said. Before all of this, and then before everything was hearing, and before everything else.
Yeah.
So I think that because the reunion was filmed so quickly after the season wrapped and so long ago at this point, after everything that's happened, I think it's going to feel very there's gonna be a huge disconnect, I think, with how the collective feels about the women versus what's gonna go down at the reunion because it was filmed so long ago.
Yes. One other thing before you wrap up, I wanted to get your take on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the reunion season chart, but
No, not yet.
but somehow my lawyer ego, I take it was Empic, managed to sit closer to Andy than Heather.
What?
Let me just quickly send you the
That's crazy. Let me look it up real quick.
I'll send you the season plan. Let me get it quickly. And I mean, to me, it's whack. You're given they're literally given the boring duo second in command out of all things. Okay, I've just sent it to you.
I think they should have switched. I think Heather should have been next to Tamra and Gina should have been bumped down. Or not Gina, Emily should have been bumped down.
Yeah, I mean, and Jenn should have been swapped with Boar and Gina. I mean, Jenn and Emily are like, Jenn may not be a qualified lawyer or attorney, whatever you want to dub them as, but like Emily, but at least she's a realist. Emily is two-faced, phony, and to me, really just I don't even know, like, and just in the last 45 minutes, this I'll also send you this for imbecile Alexis
Okay.
has posted her text
Yeah.
with Shannon and just been this low saying I mean to me Tamra sorry, my bad. Tamrat. Being friends with someone who tried to. What was the figure? You said something like $500,000.
Yeah, 500K.
Yeah.
Well, that's what she says at least.
Yeah, something they said. Yeah, along those lines. And I mean, we'll still be friends if we sued each other for 500K. I mean, like,
yeah, and I'm gonna team up with you to go against someone I'm claiming has been my best friend for 10 years.
Yes, literally.
Come on now.
I mean, literally, it is psychotic on a whole other level.
Yeah.
It is psychotic on a whole entire different level.
Agreed.
To the point it doesn't make sense. I mean, with Potomac, I think out of all the recaps that we do, that's probably.
Wait 1 second. The court of public opinion says I end up liking Shane better than Emily. That was a shocker. LOL. I agree. I actually really like Shane way more than I like Emily. I agree.
I don't really have an opinion on him.
I like Shane. I think he's funny and sweet.
The only thing I've had I feel bad for him is that she could eat him for breakfast, but that's a different story. I mean, she literally could eat him for breakfast.
Yeah.
But I think out of all the franchises, I think Potomac will be the one that we differ the most on opinions. I think kind of with the other with these ones, kind of like if someone said on, I mean, you know, this is a free speech panel, but if I doubt we're gonna have many Yay Gina fans here, put up with.
Yeah.
But one thing is going to be interesting is the contrast between Shannon and Karen, because a lot of people are saying, you know, they both obviously did something that wasn't unfortunate, but they were saying that even though people like Karen, they're really frustrated by the way that she's gone about things compared to Shannon.
Well, I
And
mean, we'll see.
and we'll have to see. But unlike what the others said, I actually like the brand new girl, Stacey.
Okay. Well, we'll see on
So
Monday.
we'll have to see on Monday, and that kind of works for me because our version of Peacock over here is called Hey You, and we don't. Sometimes we get it kind of almost immediately after it airs your way, but there's other times where we won't get it for, I don't know, until the equivalent it's been 12 hours since it aired.
Oh, wow.
So but I'm not going to stay up to 3 in the morning to watch it. I stay up now because it's a weekend, but like on the Monday I'm going to watch it. And yeah, I mean, so are you gonna, is like midnight like your main go-to time? Like for
Midnight?
like, yeah, my way, so that's 4 p.m. PST.
Yeah, like right now it's 6:45.
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
so midnight my way. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if we were all on the same time zone, how much life would be easier?
No, it's so much easier.
It actually is crazy how we're 8 hours apart.
I know.
like it, but hey, I mean, like it like, but as we said yesterday, even though like it was sad, but like we kind of like had our own kind of like departure, but I feel like we owed it to ourselves. Like, I mean, kind of
Yeah.
like, even just seeing, even though you still do it now, even just, when you were focusing mainly on your other videos about self care and just wellness, and kind of like, I felt like it got to the point where, it was just getting not to use toxic as a cliche word, but it kind of was like literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm not a fan of cliche words, but there's like no other way of kind of dubbing it.
Yeah.
Like that's how kind of whack it got to the point that
It was like the Bravo collective. It was too dark.
yeah,
It was just too dark stuff going on. I was just like, let's take a break. And I think it's always good to take a break from stuff.
and I think so as well. I mean, it's kind of like kind of just used an analogy. Like you can only like I remember Serena Williams and Roger Federer at the US Open and also at Wimbledon over here were saying that we can only play tennis for so many hours a day.
Exactly.
We love it, we like it, it's what we do, it's our career. But if someone said, please play tennis for 20 hours a day and I'll give you a check, they would say we wouldn't accept it. Like that was like hearing it from the two, like, oh,
I mean, I love eating chocolate cake, but I can't eat it all day.
100%. but anyways, thanks for recapping.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, I'm just really waiting on this Beverly Hills trailer.
I know you are. You're on one. You're ready.
That and Vanderpump are the shows that I watch. Like,
is Vanderpump coming back?
Yeah, it's going to come back, but not until next year.
Yeah, the new cast.
Because you have the Nat and Kyle and Lisa Rinna constantly saying it's going to be cancelled and all this stuff, but those three just need to just
chill out.
And I hope after this season of Beverly Hills it is going to be kind of I just it's not going to happen sadly in the next few months, but I just can't wait for the day that we have Kyle Richards' departure. Yeah. But not to jinx anything, but yeah, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And enjoy your weekend.
I shall. You do the same, and I will see you Monday.
Yeah, see you Monday.
Yay. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye, sweetheart. Love. You too. So Chocolate Chunk says, at Candy Washington, I know you're not loving Bronwyn on Salt Lake City, but are you interested in her storyline with her daughter's father and his family? You know, to be honest with you, yes and no. Like, I'm interested in knowing what really happened, but not from like, I care to see it play out as a storyline. Especially because the way it was brought to the show was so random. It wasn't that Bronwyn brought it to the show. It was that Lisa saw the photo on Bronwyn's phone of her daughter's father, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I know that family." They're not saying how the father passed away. I have my assumptions. It seems maybe like, because I feel like if it was like a sickness or an accident, they would say that. But usually, because they're not saying anything, maybe it was like he unalived himself. Again, I feel weird speculating on somebody's death, so that feels weird. But I want to be honest with like my thoughts. So I hope it's not that, prayers up and whatever the case may be, but because they're not saying it, it kind of makes me think that's what it is. And so I'm not sure if I'm interested in it as a storyline because it wasn't something that Bronwyn wanted to bring to the show or her daughter. It was kind of like forced upon them. Not that Lisa forced it upon them, but because of like happenstance, the way it happened. I'm more interested in like what happened, like the actually understanding what happened, rather than I'm not really sure if I want to watch it all play out episode after episode after episode. Like, I don't know if I need that to be a storyline or story arc. I think it could be wrapped up in a couple of scenes of just explaining what happened, if that makes sense. Great question. Hey, Court of Public Opinion. I love VPR too. Totally addicted. Hey, Candy. Happy Friday, Candy Cane. See you Monday. Have a great weekend. Ciao. You too, sweetheart. All right, you guys. If you're going to call it a night, shout out to Candy. Shout out to the Court of Public Opinion. Chocolate Chunks. Shout out to my panel. Thank you so much. Jacob, Adam, Mel, and YC. Thank you to... Let me make sure I said thank you to everybody in the chat. I saw Natasha was in here. Thank you, sweetheart. SW, what is up? Let's see. Let me make sure I don't miss anybody. Hey, Randa, what is up, sweetheart? Thank you. Miss Jules SL, Miss Jules FL. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Holly, how are you, sweetheart? Hey, everybody. If I missed you, Nicole, what is up? How are you? Thank you so much. Tay, as always, thank you. Love you. Vaca, hey, sweetheart. Love you too. So yeah, you guys. Oh, LGR Curves, thank you too. I love you guys. We are back. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, comment your questions down below, and I will see you live on Monday for Potomac. So hit the notification bell and subscribe. I love you guys. Be safe and have a great weekend. Bye.